Kincade and Salciunas is on the air.
Today's talk show for your morning drive.
2023. Yes, we're going to bring up the freaking year again. You can't deny that it's happening all over again. The vibes are the exact same.
I've never seen a worse Eagles quarterback performance. This team doesn't almost deserve my anger. It's almost like we are more animated and care more than they do.
Broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studios. Here are your hosts, John Kincade and Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
John- It seems like there's more and more information day in, day out, week in, week out. A lot of it caused by their own doing, not the media, not fans, not, oh, you guys have rich people problems that you're complaining about your 8-5 football team. You have every right to be angry, Johnny. Good morning.
I can't believe you're angrier today.
Yes.
So you're actually like right now you're in the car's off the cliff in your mind.
Yeah, I'm like going.
It just hasn't impacted.
I have all kinds of emotions, right? Like I know this team's dead, right? Like I said it 2 weeks ago. This team's dead, but that does not make me less angry just because I've already come to terms with it a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
I think we all have the different stages of grief, right? And all of a sudden you get angry again a couple of weeks later. That's where I'm at today.
Yeah, I'm not there again because I believe you are giving them something that I don't think they deserve.
Emotion?
Yeah, because they're not giving you that emotion. They're not giving you that energy. They're not putting that much into it because I went back and watched the 15-minute yesterday, and it was a sleepwalk. A lot of it was a sleepwalk of emotion. A lot of it was just that didn't look like a ton of fight to me. It looked like a team that doesn't have answers.
There's fight on one side of the ball, that's for sure.
Well, absolutely. And that's the thing is right now that almost seems like you have two different entities.
And now two totally different. One is a top 10, one is a bottom 10.
And one will not be able to drag the other to life unless they start doing the right things. And right now, I just don't believe one side's got Vic Fangio, the other side's got Nick Sirianni and his band of merry men who just sit there and like bobbleheads and do whatever they want to do because it's terrible.
And, of course,
it's awful.
Monday was one of the worst games we've ever seen from a quarterback in Philadelphia history from somebody of note. A lot of people.
Yeah, it was. You saw people going. I saw Brad Gable, and I'm like, okay, what? Who did Brad Gable throw to?
Yeah,
by the way,
no, you're talking about a player of note, franchise quarterback, a guy that gets paid a lot of money, a guy that's supposed to carry your football team.
Stop it.
And Jalen Hurts was dreadful on Monday.
Exactly.
So I want to do something today. Look, there's a lot to get into. The Kyle Schwarber 5-year deal. We will talk about it. I know Johnny was anti over 4 years. I said no matter what. And so I got my wish. Connor got his wish. I know John's not too thrilled with the amount of years and I'm sure the amount of money. So there's a lot to get into regarding the Kyle Schwarber signing because I saw on social media is very lukewarm. So I don't think you're alone in your concern of the 37, 38-year-old season for Kyle Schwarber down the line. But I want to start off with something that we do every once in a while with our star players. And it's the temperature check of a specific person. We did this after the Phillies. I don't know if it got eliminated or toward the tail end of the regular season about Bryce Harper. We did the temperature check of Bryce Harper. Where are people at with Bryce? And there was a lot more people that were like, not like get rid of him, but what is this guy ultimately done for me?
Correct.
And that was kind of the first time we felt some sort of shift. I know there's a lot of goofiness with the blood transfusions and the raw milk and all and the tattoos of the Philly Fanatic and all kinds of stuff, right? And I think a lot of stuff, once you're sort of...
He's exhausting.
Yes. Once you're teetering on someone, you start noticing everything. It's like relationships, right? You're in a relationship, you're starting to feel like it's coming toward the tail end of the relationship. Now, everything that you noticed about them bothers you.
Right.
And I feel like we're doing that with Bryce Harper right now, even though we're not the tail end of a relationship. I want to do this show on Jalen Hurts today. The Jalen Hurts temperature check. Because, John, yesterday was the first time doing this where I saw a lot of people considering another option. And I'm talking about
Who was a lot of people?
our YouTube chat. I saw it on social media during the game Monday, which we both
saw
had
it.
the human feeling of, hey, if he throws another interception to start the second half, maybe you should do this.
Yeah, we were close to it.
But there are a lot of people, for the first time of this version of Jalen Hurts, forget 2021, all right, and whether or not he was their guy, right? The Eagles told you they weren't totally sold on him by trying to trade for Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, sign Deshaun Watson, trade up for Zach Wilson, right? Like, they wanted to move up in the draft. So this version of Jalen Hurts, the two-time NFC champion Jalen Hurts, and now Super Bowl champion Jalen Hurts, what is your temperature check of Hurts? I always try to keep it the same way every time I talk about him. I don't think he's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. I don't think he stinks. I think a lot of things have to sort of go his way in order for them to win, which is why last week I said he's not a guy that carries your team, can carry you in a game.
Okay.
But I don't think he's a guy that carries you through a season. I got a lot of pushback for that. I understand at the surface I don't think he can carry them to a game. He's a Super Bowl champion. Clearly he can win.
And he carried them. He carried them in some of the biggest games of his
Absolutely.
career.
Right.
So I understand why people would look at you and go, do you have amnesia?
But I don't think he's
I don't think he can carry you
17 games.
Well, no
we
question.
need you to
No
be the
question.
MVP in order for us to win football games.
in a game plan on a specific day against a specific team he can carry.
Sure, he absolutely
And
can.
then we agree on that completely. But I
Right.
think people are trying to stretch your comment into, well, did you miss the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
In a specific game plan, he can absolutely carry
do it.
No questions asked.
So I wonder where you guys are at. And, of course, I want to talk to fans all day today at 610-632-0975. Because our YouTube chat, it was like the Tanner McKee sideshow yesterday.
Okay,
we weren't talking about it, but our YouTube audience was. Connor, I know we got texts on it yesterday. Where are we at with is he still him, right? Like
People don't know Tanner McKee. This is the bottom line. People don't know anything about Tanner
Sure.
McKee. So they're just basing it on they want something different. So just tell me you want something different because you know nothing about Tanner McKee.
So now isn't that enough of like a
No, but that's an indictment in its own right. But don't tell me you want Tanner McKee because you can't articulate why you want him.
Right.
You don't have any expertise on
got a
Tanner
good arm,
McKee.
man.
So you're just saying, oh, I want him because of this. You don't have any expertise on Tanner McKee to give me an informed opinion about what you think he is.
Right.
Or what you believe him to be. So it's just you're going to tell me what you believe Tanner McKee is. You're basing it on wishing, hoping, I think he might be this, he could be that. But it tells you the fatigue. It tells you where everybody's at.
And it's
It tells
crazy.
you-
Fatigue of the Super Bowl
Well,
MVP
because-
of this calendar year.
Because every game, and look, people say, look, Jalen takes accountability. When you just stand up there and go, I'm going to get better, and we're going to study everything, and we're going to work hard, and then you're Nick Sirianni, and you get up there and say, hey, we're going to uncover every rock, and we're going to beat ourselves up and everything, and it doesn't ever account to anything. People just tune out Jalen, tune out Nick, tune out that. So I understand the Tanner McKee stuff, but you can't articulate why you want Tanner McKee. You have no idea about Tanner McKee. You didn't watch him play college football. You don't know him. You're just talking. You're just saying, "Oh, I want Tanner McKee."
Yeah.
Oh, I saw him in a game. I saw him in a mop-up game against Dallas,
Now,
and that was great.
Now-
He was awesome.
the beauty of our YouTube chat is I can get immediate responses. I don't have to wait till 6:25 or anything.
No.
Two responses right away on this conversation of the Jalen Hurts temperature check. Now, look, there are a lot of people that have an opinion of Jalen Hurts, have had an opinion of Jalen Hurts, and now that it's not looking good, they'll sort of creep out from under the rock a little bit more.
Sure. That's all right.
So the wasp nest checks in. Anybody with a working brain can see he's never a top 5 quarterback. He's always been 12 to 15, and it's proven you can win with him, but everything has to be perfect.
Is
Now,
Tanner McKee a top 12 quarterback in the NFL?
I also,
Hell no.
I also think 12.
Hell no.
I think 12 to 15 is disrespectful.
So
considering he's a Super Bowl
Yes.
MVP.
So do I. Yes.
Stank you up on our YouTube chat. The biggest fear from the fan base is that the Eagles are wasting a prime dynasty roster potential with this guy.
Okay.
So Jalen Hurts is now just this guy?
Really? That's a little rough. A little look, I understand, but the thing is though, I wish I could tell those people you're being outlandish. I just think you're being overly emotional. But to me, I understand the emotion.
Now, by the way, the Wasp Nest is not screaming for Tanner McKee. He's just upset with Jalen Hurts.
You want Tanner McKee, and you're going, yeah, is Tanner McKee a top 12 quarterback in the NFL? Hell no.
All right.
Every NFL general manager would be calling for Tanner McKee if he was.
So today is the Jalen Hurts temperature check show. I always love doing this every once in a while when it seems like we're teetering on one of our star players. And, man, it seems like we are.
Yes, there's a lot of teetering.
You can climb in at 610-632-0975. How is he compared to other quarterbacks in the NFL right now? I'll tell you coming up next. Also, big win for the Flyers we'll talk about.
Huge. And
the 5-year deal for Schwarber. It is Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Sean Marks.
This hour of Kincade and Salciunas is presented by Bradford White Water Heaters. Bradford White, they're here for the pro.
It is 6:14 here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, the Fanatic. Jeff Cap on our YouTube chat. There's no way that's a real statement saying this is the first time you're hearing people saying they want him benched. Most fans just enjoy hating him. It's been happening since he's been in the league. So what I mean,
I have not heard Tanner McKee called for where people were saying bench for Tanner McKee.
Yeah.
In fact, I hardly heard it yesterday.
This was the loudest it's ever been. And so that's what I'm getting at, Jeff. Like, there's always going to be
Idiots.
a few knuckleheads.
Idiots.
Right?
Yes.
Like, there's going to be somebody that's going to say Bryce Harper should bat ninth in the order, right? There's always that person.
You don't give them bandwidth.
Right. So, yes, there have always been people that have wanted Jalen Hurts either benched or not here to begin with. All right? You're not wrong. But when it starts, when you get past those knuckleheads,
there are always going to be
right.
There are always going to be people who are going to say, like, bring Rob Thompson back. It'll be different next time. Oh, wait. Okay.
Yep, Rob Thompson extension through the 2027 season yesterday. Phillies were busy. Rob Thompson got his extension.
Yeah, that's good.
And Kyle Schwarber got a 5-year deal. It was almost like it was the worst day for John Kincade yesterday, and that's after the Eagles got beat by the Chargers.
How about this?
The world is pointing their finger and laughing at you, John.
How about this? I'm going to tell you, it was worse after the show. It was worse after the show.
What do you mean?
The news that was hopping down during Middays with Marks, and then after the show, I had a baseball before we did post-show headlines.
Yeah.
I had gotten the text, and we were out there in the bullpen, and I said, okay, I just got word. We're going to hear some news here coming. And it wasn't from a Phillies source, that there's 2 pieces of Phillies news coming quickly. So I didn't know what they were. And one of them was, I was told, is expected to be Schwarber. I didn't realize the second one was going to be the Thompson news. And so we were going in to do post-show headlines. So I said to myself, Schwarber, I just assumed the second was Real Muto. And I'm like, okay. We're just doing this. And then it was the Thompson news. And I'm just like, oh.
That made you feel even better.
They're not rolling it back, though, folks. They're not. They're not just doing the same crap over and over again.
Also, the Flyers had a nice win yesterday
that was
over
beautiful.
the Sharks, 4-1.
That was fun last night.
4 different goal scorers for the Flyers.
That was fun. And a spectacular, full length of the ice defensive team effort. That was a fantastic night.
And a goal in every period. So it wasn't like one period for the offense.
And I'm telling you,
nice.
Rick Tocchet has them buying into the mentality of playing a team defense the entire length of the ice. And John Tortorella had them buying into it, but his style was different, all about blocking shots and all this kind of I'm telling you, I'm really enjoying watching this team play. And the math's getting interesting. It's December 10th. They're now more than
you mentioned what Thanksgiving. If you're in the playoff
Thanksgiving,
seeding.
you tend to make it. It's now December 10th.
Yeah,
and they're still holding true, and it's looking good. So that made before I went to bed. I was smiling.
Night. Yeah.
But the Phillies yesterday made my Tuesday, to me, worse than the Eagles did.
Hang on. Now, you're telling me that the Phillies signing the NL MVP runner-up who led the league in home runs and RBIs made your day worse than the Eagles quarterback having 5 turnovers on Monday Night Football?
The Phillies offseason, because, I had already, as I told you yesterday morning at 6 a.m., I had sort of done the Kobe thing, the flush of that, because I don't believe, and I may be being stupid, Connor, and you know that I can do this at times. I don't believe I'm going to see that again.
Okay,
I don't believe I'm going to see.
that.
I don't believe I'm going to see anything that horrendous ever again out of Jalen Hurts in that offense.
You can also look at it this way.
That was to me, that was the perfect storm of poop that I don't think I'm ever going to see again. Maybe I'm bluffing myself.
I'm also going to speak for you here. One was a one-day thing.
This is going to be
this
for
is a 5-year thing.
And I'm telling you, Connor, we'll talk about it more in length when it comes to it. Like why I think. I'm looking at the future, and the future's not bright. The future is not bright. This is not a whee, woohoo.
It absolutely is.
It's not bright. No, it's not bright.
I'm happy that he's back.
Well, no.
Very.
You can be happy he's back. And in short-term vision, you can be very happy about this. If you're just looking at it short-term, I absolutely could be Give it the clap and a very, very big clap. But I'm looking past 2026. I'm a fan of this team that's looking past 2026. And long term, this is disaster crap that they're doing for this team.
By the way, every once in a while, I'll tell you about this quarterback stock market article on Fox that the guy does.
Yes,
Henry McKenna does every single week.
Okay.
Hurts is now 17th in the NFL. And the thing is, I can't disagree with him.
No, that's a fair spot to be.
2 names behind him, Rodgers, Stroud.
Okay,
2 names
who's in
ahead of
front of
him,
him?
Lawrence and Herbert.
Lawrence and Herbert have been playing better ball than him,
Yeah.
so that's a question. Can you go a little higher? Who's been higher than Lawrence and Herbert?
Purdy, Mayfield, Lamar, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Sam Darnold, Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, I can't argue with any of the. I can't argue with any of the
And
names.
Mahomes is
then.
at 8, right?
I
So
can't.
it's not like
No, I can't argue with any of the names.
that's how bad Hurts has been playing
No,
recently.
that's no argument. No argument. I mean, that's what it is.
So I want to do the Jalen Hurts temperature check. We'll check the text. I've already got a lot of YouTube discussions. So thank you to YouTube as
Thank you,
always.
YouTube.
Thank you for any way that you listen to the show, watch the show. We appreciate you.
Big time.
Jalen Hurts temperature check day today. It was the first time where there was actual bench Jalen Hurts. Not the people that are always angry about Jalen Hurts. There was more bench Jalen Hurts talk yesterday than I'd ever seen before out of this Eagles fan base. Let's get some text messages on that. Also, Schwarber's back. John Kincade didn't want to go 5 years. I said no matter what. What did Jason Stark make of the signing? And what does he think is the next move for the Phillies? This one will make John smile as well. It is Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phils get their man. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies got their guy yesterday, signing Kyle Schwarber to a 5-year, $150 million deal, bringing him back to Philadelphia. Schwarber, who led the National League in home runs and RBIs this past season and was runner-up for MVP honors in the National League, is back in Philly for the long haul. Jason Stark of The Athletic joined Unfiltered yesterday and talked about the impact of signing Schwarber.
This had to happen. He was the centerpiece of their entire offseason. You know, they had to send him out there into the free agent market, try to figure out what's he actually worth, because there's nobody comparable to him. There's nobody like him, really, in the history of the sport.
The Phillies also agreed on a contract extension with manager Rob Thompson yesterday, keeping him in Philly through the 2027 season. The Eagles are trying to find some way to pull out of their 3-game losing streak. They'll start working towards their matchup with the Raiders this Sunday. Nick Sirianni meets with the media today at 12:20. The Flyers had another impressive win last night, taking down the Sharks 4-1. They have an off night tonight. They'll be back on the ice tomorrow. We'll talk to Adam Schefter of ESPN coming up at 7:55. Tim Kelly of On Pattison at 9:25 on the Schwarber signing. This update is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Despite wintry conditions and heavy traffic, holidays must go on. That's why Mercedes-Benz SUVs come with the latest safety technology. Find incredible offers at the Mercedes-Benz Holiday Love Celebration. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and the best Birds coverage. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
627 here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Temperature check on Jalen Hurts today. You're going to hear from Jason Stark momentarily about the 5-year contract that Kyle Schwarber received yesterday. So he's back for 5 more years with the Philadelphia Phillies. And, of course, what's next? But yesterday was a weird day, man, where I saw more and more people asking for Tanner McKee. And this wasn't a during the game show that we were doing. This was a day after show where maybe the emotions come back down a little bit and you're not in the heat of the moment. And the fact that there were more and more people than usual, than normal, saying, hey, what if? What if they went to Tanner McKee? I agree with you, John. I think it's more so a wanting something different than Jalen Hurts and not – it shouldn't be – oh, I think Tanner McKee is some savior.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the bottom line, is that it's look, I get the emotion of it. I'm not mocking anybody I'm not mocking your emotion, your feeling of just being like, look, I just want to see something different. But you can't have a legitimate conversation about Tanner McKee. You know nothing about him. And believe me, the NFL knows all they think they need to know about Tanner McKee.
Yeah.
And Howie's phone would have been ringing off the hook for Tanner McKee.
Ingram on our YouTube chat. So if we bench Jalen, what do fans expect? Us to just roll to back-to-back Super Bowls? Stop it. I mean, come on. Like, I can't all of a sudden say that this season's like saved because Tanner McKee's playing quarterback.
I mean, and you know what? Tanner McKee may come in against bad teams and do a very, very credible job. He might. And one thing I really have enjoyed when I've seen Tanner McKee get snaps is I've enjoyed quick release.
Yeah.
And it looks like a different offense and everything like that. But it's just, you don't know. We don't know anything about it.
So if you're just tuning in, this is not a should they bench Jalen Hurts show. It's the Jalen Hurts temperature check. Where are you at with Hurts right now? What do we got on the text line, Connor, at 610-632-0975?
All right, so we have a lot of people checking in on Hurts, and this texter says, I rarely ever do this, but Jalen Hurts has earned a period of pastime with me tenfold. He shined when the lights come on in the biggest moments and given me top 5 moments of my 58 years of Eagles viewing. He almost looked like he is on the take at times last 4 games, but there are so many other glaring issues with this team.
Wait a minute. Whoa. I was with that person until the last line.
There's so many other glaring issues.
Tell me about the glaring issues that are more glaring right now than the play of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, the 4 interceptions.
Like, tell me, like, especially if we're keeping it in the present, we're today's talk show.
Right.
We're not doing the call us and tell us your favorite Eagle. We'd like to hear about your favorite Eagle of all time. Like we're talking about today. Tell me what the glaring issue is with the Eagles that's more glaring than the play of Jalen Hurts, especially the last 2 games. He has been their worst single player the last 2 games. There's nothing worse.
I mean, you still look at the offensive line, inability to get push.
But is that worse? Has that been worse than Jalen Hurts?
By the way, Saquon finally ran for over 100 yards.
He did.
It's not been worse than Jalen Hurts. Jalen has been the biggest problem for this team in their last 2 losses.
Yeah, but over the course of the season, Kevin Patullo has been a bigger issue. I
agree with you. But, I mean, we're talking right now. I mean, Jalen has nosedove.
I don't think it's unfair to look past the most recent 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen's nosedove.
I could say the reason that they are on this 3-game losing streak.
Jalen Hurts.
Number 1 is Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, number 1 reason is Jalen Hurts.
For the 3-game losing
streak. And they were 8-2.
And prior to this 3-game losing streak, we had been asking about 2023 for about a month and a half.
Yeah, we have. And nobody wanted to hear it.
No.
All right. Jason Stark yesterday on Unfiltered.
I did not hear this, and I purposely then didn't go and listen.
Because I know you're not thrilled with 5 years for Schwarber.
No, I'm not.
And you're not worried about 2026.
No, I'm not worried about 2026.
You're worried about
this
8,
is fine.
9, 30.
Like, I hear what Connor's saying. Yeah, for 2026, this is great news yesterday.
Yeah, you know you're getting 40. Yeah. You know you're getting 40 bombs from him.
Yeah, I mean, at least.
Yeah.
At least if he's healthy, at least I'm getting that. But I'm worried about the long term, and for the long term, this organization is heading for a cliff, and the cliff just got much closer.
Unless they actually get guys in their farm system, which is not something the Phillies are typically all that great at. Here was Jason Stark yesterday on what went into the re-signing of Kyle Schwarber and why they wanted him back so much.
This had to happen. He was the centerpiece of their entire offseason. It's no accident that they hadn't done anything in any area until they got this thing wrapped up. And the thing to remember is this is the biggest contract by a DH in the history of the sport. No DH had ever even gotten $20 million a year. He's getting $30 million a year for 5 years. And because he's such a unique player, they had to send him out there into the free agent market to try to figure out what's he actually worth, because there's nobody comparable to him. There's nobody like him really in the history of the sport. And so I don't know that anybody else was willing to pay him $30 million for 5 years, but he's got a unique value to the Phillies. And so he winds up with a unique contract. And now you'd think that the rest of their offseason begins to fall into place.
Now, there was one team that was willing to do that. Orioles offered exactly the same thing that Schwarber signed with the Phillies, the 5 years, $150 million. I think the Reds was 5 for $130.
They were short on money.
Yeah, it wasn't that much further off, but the 5 years was still the total for Cincinnati as well.
Yes. But
no, look.
No, again, listen to what he told you. The Phillies went 50% higher than any DH had ever been offered money.
Sure.
They went 50% higher. That should be a whoop, whoop, whoop red flag for everybody that you are overpaying.
Well, if other teams offered him it.
But that should be that you're overpaying in a contract. You're going, we're going to somewhere that's never been before. So every baseball team in the history of baseball has said before, in their minds, we're never doing this, and we're never going that high. We're never doing that. There's some that were willing to go push it to the middle of the table. There's a reason for that. Plus, he's also getting that money as one of the older DHs to get that kind of money.
Now, let me ask you something, because you heard Stark say it. Like, he was their centerpiece, and he does more than just play baseball for them. How much do you, John Kincade, value that? Because
I absolutely value it.
He is the voice, like, he's the Jordan Mailata of the Phillies.
I will tell you, he does things for that team. Now, look.
Because Harper doesn't, right? Harper's not the voice.
I'm going to tell you, I was in that clubhouse 10 times this year. Maybe. Probably 10 times. So I am no expert. I'm not Zach Gelb. I'm not Tim Kelly. I'm not one of the
Matt Gelb. You're thinking of Temple Lowell, Zach Gelb.
I'm not Zach Gelb either. But I mean, I'm not in that locker room every day, so I'm not one of those people who's totally embedded. Todd Zalecki or those guys. Listen to them much more about what's going on in the clubhouse. But I'm in that clubhouse more than many of my peers in talk radio. I can tell you that. And what I will tell you is that he serves a role in that clubhouse that Bryce Harper doesn't serve.
Right.
That JT Realmuto doesn't serve.
And they know that. And that's why they're saying we don't want to lose this guy, not just for the 50 home runs, but also the leadership quality.
I respect the hell out of that. And I am not underselling it because every team needs it. And I do believe that the young players in that organization, hell, I believe every player in that organization watches him walk, watches him talk, watches him conduct his business, and learns something every day by the way he goes about it. He is a class act. He is a leader by example. He is a leader by performance. He is everything that you want in a baseball player.
He also has something that a lot of those guys don't.
Oh, no. No questions asked. No question. That now, what I would say to you is this. What has it meant?
What
has it meant?
I totally understand, because yesterday...
It has meant nothing.
Dude,
his leadership has meant... It hasn't... there's no fruit to it.
So yesterday, when I say it was a weird day, because it was the first time I saw a lot of Jalen Hurts, like, let's maybe bench him for Tanner McKee. Yesterday, when they signed Kyle Schwarber, I did not see full-on... Yeah!
No, because they paid 5 years. 5 years.
I saw a lot of, what has he done in the playoffs? And that's what I said on social media. I said, look, he's the reason why you got to the playoffs last year. We all agree, right? He was your MVP last season, that and the pitching staff.
He should have the same back injuries that Cam Jurgens had.
Right. He carried the team. But then come playoff time, he was non-existent except for one game, and it was the one game they won.
Bryce Harper was on his back.
So Jalen Hurts temperature check show. and Schwarber. Your reaction to him getting a 5-year contract at the age of 33 with the Philadelphia Phillies. I wanted him back no matter what, but I totally get what you're saying, Johnny.
Like, I mean, to me, there's nothing not to like about Kyle Schwarber. This contract, there's a lot not to like. The money, the length of time, and John Middleton has a budget. And this budget, and more importantly, this isn't the reason why I think this team's heading to a cliff.
Well, Jason Stark mentioned that budget. You'll hear more from the Hall of Fame writer coming up next. You can climb in 610-632-0975. Jalen Hurts temperature check show and your feelings toward Kyle Schwarber getting that 5-year contract extension with the Phillies. JT Realmuto is coming back. I'm not even going to play the audio from Stark. He's basically telling you what's happening. But what happens after that when they allocate so much money to Schwarber and Realmuto on top of what they're already paying for Harper and Trey Turner? Yeah. You'll hear Stark talk about that as well. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. All right, let's check that FanDuel Sportsbook app. FanDuel, in partnership with Valley Forge, is the #1 sportsbook for same-game parlays. I love it. It's where I always go to for my SGPs. From points, rebounds, to threes and assists, FanDuel is the best place to combine your favorite picks into a same-game parlay or track every stat live, all in one easy-to-use app. We got the NBA Cup going on right now. Everyone's fired up about the NBA Cup.
I'm interested. It makes me interested in games I wouldn't normally watch.
I have no interest.
It's a game I wouldn't normally watch. I'll watch it. There's something to it.
I have no interest whatsoever. But, you can always look at a Lakers game with Bron. Not Bronny, but with LeBron and Luka. Those are always fun to bet. Overs and points and rebounds and assists. Just two of them. Just bet their overs. Nobody else on the Lakers. All right? Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So bet on the players you love the way you want. Just head to FanDuel.com/Fanatic. That's FanDuel.com/Fanatic to sign up today. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. You got to be 21 plus. President of Pennsylvania. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued is not bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. MBD on our YouTube chat in response to Kyle Schwarber getting the 5-year extension. This team went from bring me my bleeping trophy to, 92 wins and printing money is just fine.
And that's what it is. You heard the end of the season press conference.
They ran into a good club, John.
Dave Dombrowski looked down his nose at us.
That pissed me off so much.
He looked down his nose at us like, you people weren't pleased with that?
I'm still very angry.
You people weren't pleased? You people you people weren't happy? Like it was a condescending press conference because he believes you should be happy with 90-something wins.
One declining results. Throw away, just one thing away. I'm still angry about Dave Dombrowski. We're an Eagles season, so that's obviously the majority of our focus, every day on this show. But I'll be honest, I'm still not happy with Dombrowski. I've been saying it for 2 years that he's living off of his resume at this point. A very good one. Very good resume. But I think he's living off of it. Now, he still has the rest of the offseason. It's not like they signed Schwarber yesterday and they're done. And, yes, they're going to sign JT Realmuto.
So you're saying it's done?
Yeah, Stark said it again yesterday saying, look, he's out there to see how much money he can get, and that's pretty much it. They don't want to jump the gun.
And they're going to then say, oh, well, what do you need? What do you need, JT?
Well,
JT, can we sign that check for you?
And the players love him, and the pitching staff
so
loves
unbelievable.
Him. So
get older.
Now, there is other stuff that Dombrowski can do.
Like you know what he could do? Anybody right now, YouTube chat, texters, right now. Would you like to see Dave Dombrowski signing some of that money that he's spending? Would you like to see some of that money allocated towards keeping Ranger Suarez? Or are you okay with them just saying, yeah, let Ranger go? Because I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to start the year, the first 2 months of the season, with Sanchez, Luzardo, Nola, hopefully Painter. He wasn't even a good pitcher in AAA last year. And people are like, well, Painter's going to be here. He couldn't get guys out in AAA last year. And Taijuan Walker. You okay with that?
Is there another arm they can add? Here's Jason Stark yesterday with Unfiltered.
That's one that we can really gauge the answer to yet. But let's think this through. If they sign Schwarber and JT, they're headed for a payroll north of $300 million again, and that does not leave a lot of wiggle room to go out and remake the team around free agents. That's just reality. Last time I was on with you guys, I said they're not going to have a $400 million payroll. So they have money, but in order for them to do more, they need to free up some money. And that means there's incentive to make trades on multiple levels, not just to avoid running it back, but to create a little more payroll flexibility. And so, it starts with Alec Bohm. We know that they tried to trade Alec Bohm last winter, but not that hard because they were marketing him last winter as the starting third baseman in the All-Star game. This year, teams that I've talked to say that what the Phillies have been saying is they're willing to trade him for a reasonable price, realistic price. They're going to want value back, but they're trying to change how top-heavy their lineup is in particular. And so if you trade Alec Bohm, it clears the way for Aiden Miller to be that guy at minimum salary. So that's an important one.
So you bring up Aiden Miller at some point, and then, of course, you have the money to do some other things.
But Dave Dombrowski has said over and over, Preston Mattingly is on the record saying that Aiden Miller's a shortstop.
Yeah, and he can do that eventually.
So you're going to bring up a guy to start his career in the major leagues as a third baseman that you say is your shortstop?
Yeah, Bryson Stott was a shortstop. He's playing second.
Manny Machado was a third baseman. Not what J.J. Hardy blocked him at shortstop.
It's not what you want to do, though.
But look, if you think your best team is forget position, your best team is having Miller, Turner, Stott, you're gonna play them wherever it works best because you're not moving Turner to third.
But
right?
your best team, I've heard this argument. Your best team is not to have Trey Turner as the shortstop.
No, he should be.
I've heard the argument that we have to have Trey Turner at shortstop.
Although he did have a better year last year.
So this is a counter argument to that.
Playoffs.
It's an exact counter argument to that.
Now there was one name that popped up yesterday around league circles, and the Phillies are potentially in to solve that pitching rotation that you're worried about.
Solve it. This is good.
Mackenzie Gore was a name that popped
Oh, I
up
love that name. You
yesterday.
think they're going to trade with us? You think they trade with us?
Maybe? It's the Nationals, by the way, in case
Why?
people were
Yeah,
wondering.
Mackenzie Gore. You think they're going to give him in the division?
Yeah, possibly.
Maybe, as long
Jesus Luzardo was just traded in division last
Yeah,
offseason.
as long as you
The
get
Nationals trade the Marlins trade anybody anytime.
well, if they're happy with what they get back. Look, you're gonna have to pay. You're gonna have to pay something. I don't know what that cost is to trade for a guy like Mackenzie Gore, but that is an inexpensive player.
An
that
interesting arm.
And remember, opening day last year, he struck out 13 members of the Phillies on opening day.
Well, you have to have every game played in the twilight. Every game has to be played in the shadows. If you trade for Mackenzie Gore, you start him in every 4 o'clock game.
And
Every
it wasn't hitting season yet at the time. For
Yeah,
the
of
Phillies.
course.
But look, Ketel Marte's name buzzing a lot more. John Heyman tweeted out late last night, like around 10 o'clock last night, that the Phillies and Ketel Marte is still a possibility. He mentioned Red Sox, Mariners, Jays, Phillies, and Rays. But they want a big package in return. And I don't know what that is. Is that Andrew Painter? And now that scares your rotation.
Well, the thing is,
even
you can't, like, I mean, look, and two, everybody, now look, and I love, no one loves the blog sites that support these teams. I try to read them. I try to listen to some of the content. I like this stuff. But all these Phillies blogs, it's like, well, Andrew Painter, we're finally going to get to have Andrew Painter in the rotation. I'm like, were you asleep last year? Did you sleep through last season? What are you going, yay? He couldn't get guys out in AAA.
Yeah, you're excited for the.
He was pitching batting practice.
You're excited for the on-paper stuff.
Yes,
right.
you're going.
You see the
right.
miles per hour on the fastball. The movement.
He might end up being great. He might end up being great
But
down the
what
line.
you're saying is you're not basing it off of his success or lack thereof.
You got to bring some substance to an argument or a discussion about it. Is like, well, we got Andrew Painter. What are you worried about, Kincade?
All right. Well,
Yeah, I'm
speaking
worried
of
about that.
substance to an argument, I see a caller that wants to bench Hurts. I wonder what the. We're going to let him speak.
Good.
Look, today is a Jalen Hurts temperature check show. Yeah, we're talking Phillies because Schwarber got the 5-year deal. But every once in a while, I like to have a show like this on one of our star players. And yes, he is still a star player in this city, whether you think it from a play standpoint or from a popularity standpoint. He is a very polarizing, popular figure in Philadelphia. Well, there was somebody that said something about Jalen Hurts yesterday that I kind of hinted at last week. He may have gone a little bit further, but you'll hear that coming up next. It's pretty damning of Jalen Hurts, so we'll see how we feel about it, and we'll discuss it with you. Jalen Hurts Temperature Check Show. Your calls and texts next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Schwarber signs back with the Phils. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies got their man yesterday, signing Kyle Schwarber to a 5-year, $150 million deal to return to Philadelphia. Schwarber, who led the National League in home runs and RBIs this past season and was runner-up for NL MVP honors, is now back in Philly for the long haul. Jason Stark of The Athletic joined Unfiltered yesterday, and he talked about where the Phils could go next now that they have Schwarber locked down.
In order for them to do more, they need to free up some money. And that means there's incentive to make trades on multiple levels, not just to avoid running it back, but to create a little more payroll flexibility.
So we'll be watching closely for what else the Phils could do this offseason. That wasn't the only Phillies news yesterday, though. They also agreed to a contract extension with manager Rob Thompson, keeping him in Philly through the 2027 season. Eagles are trying to find some way to pull out of their 3-game losing streak. They'll start working towards their matchup with the Raiders this Sunday. Nick Sirianni meets with the media at 12:20 today. The Flyers had another impressive win last night, taking down the Sharks 4-1. They have the night off tomorrow. Adam Schefter joins us coming up at 7:55. Tim Kelly of On Pattison at 9:25. This update's brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that's built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and the best Birds coverage. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
live here on Kincade and Salciunas 97.5, The Fanatic. Happy Wawa days, Johnny. We got to do another Wawa run at some point during today's show.
How about our 7 o'clock hour people today?
Okay, because yesterday we did the 8 o'clock
How about
hour.
7 o'clock hour, and how about today's YouTube day? Our YouTubers stay very active, and we lean on them often. So today's 7 o'clock hour, and it's going to be YouTubers. So you have time. That way it gives people time to get onto YouTube if you want to win the $50 gift card today to Wawa.
Yeah, just go to YouTube, search 97.5 The Fanatic,
and get on the
click
YouTube,
the live button.
And you can be part of it today.
And, you'll be a part of the community, which is great. I love our YouTube community. So what we'll do is, as we have been doing, we'll each give an order. And then once we give all three, the first person in this case to type it in the chat,
when we call for it,
we'll get the $50 gift card to Wawa as Johnny the K is trying to spread holiday cheer with the happy Wawa.
Well, I love Wawa, so it's great.
Damn right.
So,
all right. So last week, I said that Jalen Hurts can't carry the Eagles like by himself for
you took a lot of heat
for multiple
for it,
weeks
for whatever reason.
Well, I get it. Somebody sees that header
Out of context, people saw it.
They don't click the video. They don't listen to all of it. I get it. It happens, right?
We've all done it.
We've all done it. And Jalen Hurts is a guy that people love, right? I love the guy, right?
Well, I love what he's accomplished.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
But my point has been, I don't think he's going to be a guy that I'm going to throw for 40 touchdowns, or if it's not 40 touchdowns, it's 27. I'm going to rush for 15. Like, think about it. Last year, Saquon Barkley was your team MVP. The offensive line. I credit the offensive line before I credit Jalen Hurts for last year's success.
Okay.
I'll credit the defense before I credit Jalen Hurts for the success last year. He won the Super Bowl MVP and was tremendous in the NFC Championship game. But what I'm talking about is weeks 1 through 18 as well, which after week 4, they had to strip him of throwing the football too much, and they had to run the football. They were carried by the ground game yesterday, and I don't think anybody can tell me differently, right? They can't. I still like Jalen Hurts. I do think there's limitations to his game. Tommy Reardon on our YouTube chat, or on Twitter, I think it's fair to ask if Jalen's limitations, his anticipation on throws, hitting those crossers, puts a ceiling on our long-term success. It is apparent that he needs a top-tier offensive coordinator, which also asks the question if we'd be better off with a head coach who can call plays. This is what a 3-game losing streak does to us. We start questioning everything. We start reading into everything. And sometimes I don't think we're overanalyzing. I think it's fair to have these thoughts of, I just wonder what if it was a different style quarterback that was leading this offense with all these weapons. Now, a different style of quarterback could be a player like Justin Herbert who has crapped himself in the biggest games, right? So, I'm not trying to do comparisons here. So I think it's fair to think, what if it was a different quarterback? But Tanner McKee, I have not gotten to that point, but Mike in Feasterville has. Mike, you're on Kincade and Salciunas. What's up, man?
Hi, Mike.
Hey, guys. How are you? First time, long time listener.
We appreciate you.
Of course. So my thought is, you really only have 3 options in this situation. Now, I'm a Jalen Hurts somewhat fan. I mean, I believe in the dude. I like the dude. He's a great guy, I know. But, I mean, you switch up the quarterback and see what you have with Tanner McKee. You implement another offense, which, Sirianni's not going to do. Or you keep it how you go, and which you're not going in the right direction. That's how I see it.
So, all right, let's break this down. I'm not doing it. Let's see what we got, because if you bench Jalen Hurts now, it's done. It's done.
It's done. You can only pull that trigger once.
This isn't like you know what? I'm not married to this girl yet. I've been on a couple dates, but I want to also go on a date with this girl. No, you're married to Jalen Hurts. So if you go on that other date,
marriage is over.
Marriage is over, right?
Yes, it's done.
So you can't just do the let's see how it goes unless you think Tanner McKee is the answer, and I don't have enough information to tell you that he is the answer. Switching up the offense, you're going to hear audio from Dan Orlovsky in the 7 o'clock hour where he actually liked what he saw out of the Eagles offense minus the 4 interceptions. So maybe they can continue to tweak a little bit, but the question is it too little, too late?
Right. I hear you. I mean, in the fact that, if you do bench Jalen Hurts, I mean, the biggest problem, is the locker room and how this guy feels and how the team feels. And my thought on that is, like, I really don't care how this dude feels. You get paid $150, $200 million to go out there and throw a ball, protect the ball. I mean, just do your job. And if you can't do your job, sit on the bench, dude. You know, I mean,
look, Mike, and we appreciate the call, but there's politics to it, right? Like Bradley just checks in. Tell me again how Tanner shouldn't be given an opportunity. Hurts ranked 20th behind some very illustrious quarterbacks. This week at home against the Raiders would be the perfect spot.
Who is that?
Bradley.
Bradley. Tell me what you know that Tanner McKee has done during the opportunity. There's no answer.
And it's also
because it's not. It's totally subjective. And the thing is, you don't just. It's the Super Bowl MVP. He's been to 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls. He is a champion. He is a guy who has done nothing but win his entire career. And yes, Monday night, I said it. The last 2 games,
he was horrible,
atrocious.
Horrible.
It's terrible. You know nothing about Tanner McKee. Nothing about him.
But again,
you just are like some guy. You just don't go. Yeah, this guy deserves his chance. You know nothing about Tanner McKee.
And again, if you bench Jalen, I'll use the analogy I just gave you. It's the marriage is over. It's over.
You burn that bridge. It's done.
If you fool around, like the marriage is over, right? So
I'm sure that Christina would be like,
yeah.
Okay, Andrew, John, you all right? It's okay.
I'll pass.
It was just one time. Zalika Silver's very attractive, but I understand it.
He finished his tweet with time for a phantom Jalen injury. So you mean Jalen Hurts, Mr. All I want to do is win. All I want to do is play football. Is going to fake an injury to see if Tanner McKee's better. Yeah, no, that ain't happening.
Hell no.
You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. So we go from the bench Hurts crowd to Scott in West Philly, who has the opposite. What's up, Scott?
Fellas. This is insane. It is insane.
The Eagles have done this.
Nick Foles has cracked Philadelphia fans' brains to no repair. We are the only city that does this, and we're laughed about by it. Like, it's insane. We were just talking about how the team was 27-29 in the last 30 games. He had 2 bad games. I watched Baker lose to the Saints. I watched Mahomes throw 3 picks. I watched Lamar Jackson play horrible for 4 weeks, and we're talking about benching the Super Bowl.
No, that's why we're not. That's why we're not. That's why we're not. That's like we're not doing the click crap.
We're doing it's the temperature check show.
We're doing
And clearly, though, there are Eagles fans that would do something different.
Listen, quarterbacks have bad games. You flush it down the drain and be mindful.
Wait a minute, though. Wait a minute. Jalen's got to stop telling us that he's going to fix it. Jalen's got to stop telling us that he's going to get back in the lab and we're going to work on these things and we're going to learn from it. And if you don't win, you learn. Because he's not learning. So he's got to stop. He's got to stop the double talk.
Johnny, and I'll let you guys cut me into this. Johnny did have good. It's 2 bad games. If you get A.J. Brown dropped the touchdown and they had a touchdown call back, and this isn't even a conversation. Mind you, he also had a perfect passer rating against the Vikings, was 4 touchdowns against the Giants. Like,
but my thing is, Scott,
never took off.
Scott, I appreciate the call, man, but those happened in October.
I mean, yeah, you got to be talking about. We got to be talking about what's going on.
I keep on saying this, guys. My son, we had not put together his Halloween costume yet. The last time the Eagles scored more than 21 points.
Now remember,
it was October 26th.
The day he had his perfect rating is the day I tweeted. I texted you the picture of all the Christmas presents were wrapped.
That was October 19th, you weirdo.
I texted you all the Christmas presents were wrapped.
So I want to play this for you because, again, last week I got a lot of heat for the whole he can't carry the team, right? He will be a part of a winning team. Duh. They won the Super Bowl 8 months ago. But this was Colin Cowherd on his show, The Herd, of course, on Fox, sort of painting the picture of Jalen Hurts. And I wonder how many of you hear this and either get angry or go, I don't totally disagree.
Let's stop arguing about this. One thing that has become obvious for Jalen Hurts, he is a circumstances quarterback. If the O-line's perfectly healthy, if the offensive coordinator is great, if Saquon Barkley is having an amazing night or season, if the defense is number 1 like last year, he's really successful. Justin Herbert's doing it with no ifs. I like Jalen Hurts. Intangibles, A++. But the Eagles have now lost 5 straight games when they asked Jalen Hurts to just throw 30 times. Just 30. Last night he had to throw 40 times and became the only quarterback to have 2 turnovers on 1 play. The Eagles have a head coach that is entirely dependent on offensive coordinators and a quarterback that's dependent on mostly a perfect setting.
I'm sorry. I can't stop laughing at the 2 turnovers on the same play. Like, it's actually kind of hilarious to me.
Now, I'm going to tell you that, and I know it for a fact, Colin doesn't watch the Philadelphia Eagles to any kind of length or any kind of depth. But Colin did not I detected no lies in whatever his writers wrote for him there. And I do not I detect no lies.
Here's something to really point out. So he mentions the 5 games in which he had to throw at least 30 times. I understand somebody's going to say, well, of course, they were losing. Denver, they were winning and lost. The Giants game Thursday night was abysmal. Okay. Dallas, they were up 21-0.
Yep.
Chicago, they were down 10-9 going into the 4th quarter.
It was the 4th quarter, and you were in the red zone.
And this past game, it went to overtime. They were tied. So it's not like they were down 3 scores and Hurts then started throwing the football, which then got to 30 pass attempts, which then makes that stat sound a certain way. 4 of those 5 games where they had the lead or it went down to the wire, and they lost all 5 of those games. He's not wrong. Last year, everything was perfect. Now, Hurts gets credit for that, too. I think one of the worst things is that we take away from Hurts because of all the things that were going well for the Eagles last year. I don't want to do that. I think that's unfair. He made the plays when he needed to make them. He was great in the NFC Championship game. He was great in the Super Bowl. But it almost does seem like everything else has to be very, very, very good for him to put together a complete season. This year, his number has been called upon more, and it's looked awful.
You know, as great as Joe Montana, I can tell you about Joe Montana. You guys are too young. Joe Montana, known as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He had one of the top 3 running backs of his generation. He had the top wide receiver of his generation. He had an absolutely transformational offensive line before free agency.
Right.
He had the greatest offensive mind that was around for that generation in Bill Walsh. Nobody ever says, well, Joe Montana needed everything to be perfect. Joe Montana had everything by a quarterback's design, had everything perfect. And no one ever references and goes, well, Joe Montana had everything perfect.
Right. That's why I think it's unfair people take away from Hurts.
That's unfair. But it is. It's not an unfair statement to make.
Right.
But it is unfair when you look at it that way.
All right. So coming up next, Jalen Hurts is not the only Eagle that Coward thinks needs the perfect situation in order to succeed. Hear his thoughts about the head coach next. We'll play that for you. We'll check our text line and calls on this Temperature Check Wednesday on Jalen Hurts. And also we'll give our first order for our Wawa order. You have to get all 3 right and answer them in order on our YouTube chat to win the $50 gift card to Wawa. It is Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5, The Fanatic.
You know, every day somebody is looking for that second chance. Many of our athletes in Philly are. But in serious condition are people who are suffering from addiction. And they need something. They need that second chance. And you may have it on your property of your home or your business. You may have a car, a truck, a boat, or motorcycle, an RV that's reached the end of the road for you. You're not using it anymore. Why don't you donate it to the Salvation Army? You may not think of the Salvation Army in that way, but that vehicle can help somebody else rebuild their life. It's going to help them find stability, maybe discover hope again. And that's what the Salvation Army is all about. They've been doing it for nearly 150 years. Your kindness can help by donating. Call 800-SA-TRUCK, Salvation Army, 800-SA-TRUCK, or go to satruck.org. Schedule yourself a pickup. They're going to come right to your home. They're going to tow the vehicle at no charge, and they're going to give you an IRS-approved receipt. That used vehicle that you have on your property could be the turning point for someone else. So let's say that motorcycle you don't need anymore, that RV, that truck, that boat. Look, you're ready to part with it. So donate it today. Call 800-SA-TRUCK or visit satruck.org. Help the Salvation Army in this holiday season continue to do the most good. 7 a.m. hour is brought to you by the Bet Parks online casino and sportsbook app. Live bet sports on the Bet Parks app. Play all your favorite casino games. There's always another way to win on the Bet Parks online casino and sportsbook. Got to be 21 in Pennsylvania, Jersey, or Maryland. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right. You want me to go first with the first of our Wawa
why not?
order? All
Why
right.
not?
So what we're doing, it's Happy Wawa Days. Johnny the K celebrating with you. Go ahead. Tell us what can people get at Wawa right now for the holidays?
Well, you
Johnny?
get Wawa gift cards, which everybody loves a Wawa gift card. Just slam one in your wallet or put it on your in your Apple wallet and then just use it for like a month. It's awesome. So you just want to get that, but they have all the great big brands too. So go in there. If you're just grabbing any for like the mailman or maybe a teacher or at school or anything like that.
The Wawa
School nurse.
gift card is a tremendous,
It's a great gift 'cause
tremendous gift.
Everybody uses it.
Yeah, absolutely.
For somebody that you don't know what they want, but you just want to
Even
say
if it's
thank
a
you.
tank of gas that somebody
It's
uses
great.
the gift card with.
Absolutely.
I will go with one of my go-to orders back when I used to work middays and actually had time to get in the mornings. The bacon, egg, and cheese croissant sizzly.
Oh,
The
okay.
flaky croissant, man. It's delicious. So bacon, egg, and cheese.
They do a nice croissant.
It's really good.
Yeah,
Actually.
they do a nice croissant.
Bacon, egg, and cheese on the croissant, the sizzly. That is my order. Johnny and Connor will give theirs later
There you
on
go.
in the 7 o'clock hour. So it's this hour. At the end of this hour, if you're a viewer on our YouTube stream and
So
you're
get
the
in on
first
YouTube,
person,
and if you're listening on radio right now, you can get in on YouTube because it's the way you're going to win.
absolutely. We'll do that by the end of this hour. All right. We'll get back to our texts and calls. We've got a lot of people that want to chime in on this Jalen Hurts temperature check discussion. I also want to get some what people are saying about the Schwarber sign. Did we get any texts on Schwarber?
Yeah, we did.
All right, give me one because I'm curious. Like, it was lukewarm on social media yesterday.
Yeah, so hang on. Let me got to filter through the 1,000 Jalen Hurts texts about Tanner McKee being the quarterback. As far as Schwarber is concerned, this texter brings in that they were a little bit worried about the 5 years, and John is absolutely right on the signing of Schwarber. It's a joke because he could hit 70 home runs. It doesn't matter what he does because when it comes down to the playoffs, he chokes just like the rest of them. They're rolling it back.
See, I don't believe that because to me, he really has been. If I'm looking at his tenure as a Philly, I thought he had a bad 2024. The other 3 years, I don't consider it bad.
Well,
the only game they won in the postseason this year, he pitched well. I mean, he hit well. The other games, he was a non-factor.
Yeah.
But
you could say he won.
everybody
Yeah,
else.
you could say he won one of the games.
won them a
24, he was horrible against
And
the
in
Mets, except for the
23
first at bat.
And I think in 22 and 23, he was spectacular.
No, he was. Him and Marsh were the only two players that showed up in that Diamondbacks series.
I'm not going to say I think that is unfair on Schwarber. But again, it's just I don't understand how anybody is sitting in a room, and in the Phillies, they're sitting in a room and they're looking at this makeup of this group and going, let's just keep doing it.
Yeah,
they're getting older. Let's just throw more money at it. Let's let them watch them get older. And you know what? This time it's going to work.
But the answer I still don't get from anybody is who would you have replaced him with?
If you make the decision to move on, you don't have to have an answer. None of us have to have an answer. They then have that money to spend. Then all the answers in the world open up to them because they're making the phone calls.
No, that's a cop-out.
It's not.
Yes, it is. If you're going to say that you're going to let an MVP runner-up who led his league in home runs and RBIs, who is a clubhouse leader, walk out of that door.
How about a Kyle Tucker?
Okay.
Okay, so if you need a name, the bottom line is this. We don't make the trades. We don't do that. There are so many deals that are to be made that you don't have any clue about.
Right, but if you're going to get so animated about doing this.
I'm getting animated because I'm not even getting the thought out. The animated is, Connor, is that I'll let you speak. Let me get the thought out. Is that you don't know what deals are out there. You can't say to people, well, tell me what you want. Because you don't know what deals are out there. The general managers of baseball know what deals are out there. And when they start talking to each other, you don't know who players are available. And you don't know top prospects the way these guys do.
Right, but Kyle Schwarber, again, it's not just the home runs and the RBIs. The leadership quality is a big part of it, too.
But what has that, tell me what it's done to you.
He's the reason why he got to the playoffs last
Okay,
year.
tell me, are you okay with that?
Well,
are you going to be okay with another trip to October that just ends in a fizzle out? Because that's what this has led to 3 years in a row.
No, but that's why I need Dave Dombrowski. Like, look, it doesn't stop with Schwarber and Real Muto. Like, he's got to make sure he has to, right? Like, if he brings back the Bohm and Marsh and company, then that's when I'll start getting angry.
Then what are you trading? I'm asking you both. What are you trading?
What am I?
Tell me what you now. We're roll if we're rolling these back and we're getting Real Muto back. Like Connor,
Yeah.
what are we trading? Like what are they trading from this organization?
Wait, are you saying to acquire another?
Yes, to go and acquire talent. What are we trading?
I would trade Alec Boehm for pennies on the dollar to clear up third base.
So we're not getting anything.
Well,
you'll
no.
probably get
a guy with an expiring
I think
contract.
you could get a reliever of no.
Okay, you might get it. No, I agree with you. Then we're in agreement. Okay,
and look, they need it. We know that.
Then what else are you trading?
I'm moving Nick Castellanos, eating some of the money, bringing back Harrison Bader.
So you're getting if you're trading Nick Castellanos, you're eating money.
Yeah.
So all you're getting is a prospect, most likely.
Sure, but you're clearing up a little bit of space on the salary, and you're clearing up a position in the outfield for a guy that doesn't really seem like he wants to be here.
But you're not clearing up space in the salary because you're paying.
Well, you're paying some of it, but you're paying less than what you. It's just 1 year, so if you eat half of that, you're still saving half of that.
Okay, so and then you're saying you're bringing back Bader. You want Bader back?
I'd like to, but I mean there are other options. Too
I
in the
saw
outfield.
a report yesterday that Bader's money's going up and up and up.
Yeah, that's a tough
a
thing.
lot of people are
Got
interested
bought into the last 2 months of Bader.
into his career stretch, like his.
He had his career 2 months, and people are saying.
My only thing with Bader, I would like him back because I know he can be my everyday starting center fielder, which I have not had, and I'm not joking, since Shane Victorino. All right, like Ben Revere, Roman Quinn, Odubel Herrera, and I mean every day where I'm not going to get pissed off watching this guy play. I'm not thinking about should they bench him for this guy, Johan Rojas, right? Like
Right.
Harrison Bader, I know wherever you want to put him 6 through 9 in the order, you put him in center field, you set it. Set it. It's a set it and forget it guy.
And I get what you're saying. The idea of what do you do for 2026, I get what you're saying. I'm talking about the long-term franchise. This franchise is heading for it's going to be a financial cliff.
Right.
John Middleton doesn't spend endlessly.
Yeah, I just really don't think a lot of that has to do with the player we're talking about right now. I think it has so much more to do with Nola, Harper, and Turner. Schwarber's numbers have been improving. He has added stuff to his game. His bat speed is incredible. DHs have a longer shelf life.
So you think he's going to have do you think we will see a better year out of Kyle Schwarber ever again on this contract?
Maybe
No.
not, but if he's still giving me 45
but now
bombs,
but now he's going to be making $30 million.
how about comparable?
Sure, but
I want a comparable year from Kyle Schwarber where he is once again your leading home run hitter and leading RBI guy.
Oh, I think you're going to see a leading home run, leading RBI.
And
I don't think you're going
need
to
that
see
from somebody.
Yes. I just don't believe you're going to see that Kyle Schwarber again.
All right,
40
coming
homers
up next. Coming up next, I want to play this Colin Cowherd audio on Nick Sirianni. He also says that the situation needs to be perfect for Nick Sirianni to succeed. So you'll hear from Cowherd on that. Also, though, Dan Orlovsky, he actually liked what he saw on Monday for the Eagles. Not the 4 interceptions
What did he
part.
like?
You'll hear him explain himself next on this Jalen Hurts Temperature Check Wednesday. Kincade and Salciunas 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, the consultants
Now,
The consultants in medical oncology and hematology, Dr. John Sprandio and his team, make it easy to get answers. The entire team that Dr. Sprandio created is absolutely amazing at CMOH. They offer quick consults, clear communication, and an individualized plan, so you're going to know exactly what to expect. And they've got a convenient new location now in Newtown Square. It's where I go for all my appointments now. They've got 3 offices across the region where you're going to find easy access. I'm talking first floor level and easy entry. You drop off the patient at the front door. They walk in, easy access, no elevators and garages to deal with. And since they're an independent practice, they work with hospitals and healthcare systems across the tri-state area to give you seamless care. Look, if you've had abnormal test results or you've got a cancer diagnosis in the family, to you, a family member or otherwise, don't put off getting answers. Get clarity and, more importantly, take control. The consultants in medical oncology and hematology, they help me, and they're absolutely awful. They're the best. They're just so awesome in the way that they deal with you, and they're going to help you get an individualized plan so you're going to know exactly what to expect. They set my appointments for me. And more importantly, the staff that is the backbone, well, let's just say they take customer service to another level. Visit CMOH.org and take the first step towards you getting peace of mind after that cancer diagnosis.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
A big payday for Schwarber. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies got their man yesterday, signing Kyle Schwarber to a 5-year, $150 million deal. Schwarber, who led the National League in home runs and RBIs this past season and was the runner-up for MVP honors, is back in Philadelphia for the long haul. Jason Stark of The Athletic joined Unfiltered yesterday, and he talked about the impact of signing Kyle Schwarber.
This had to happen. He was the centerpiece of their entire offseason. You know, they had to send him out there into the free agent market, try to figure out what's he actually worth, because there's nobody comparable to him. There's nobody like him, really, in the history of the sport.
The Phillies also agreed to a contract extension with manager Rob Thompson yesterday, keeping him in Philly through the 2027 season. Eagles are trying to find some way to pull out of their 3-game losing streak. They're going to start working towards their matchup with the Raiders this Sunday. Nick Sirianni meets with the media coming up at 12:20. The Flyers had another impressive win last night, taking down the Sharks 4-1. They're off till tomorrow. We'll talk to Adam Schefter coming up at 7:55. Tim Kelly joins the show at 9:25 for the latest on the Schwarber signing. This update is brought to you by Macy's Backstage. Macy's Backstage is a whole department inside your Macy's store where you can find so many holiday essentials, all for under $25. Don't wait. Find a location at Macy'sBackstage.com. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5TheFanatic.com.
Got his 5-year extension with the Phillies yesterday, so we're talking about the Phillies offseason, but we're also getting into the Jalen Hurts temperature check day. I like to do this every once in a while. I've done it about Embiid in the past, Ben Simmons in the past, Bryce Harper just earlier this year. Where we're at, because this was the first time where I saw people actually start saying, hey, maybe we should look elsewhere, like a legit elsewhere. And this version of Hurts, not 2021 Jalen Hurts when he was a first-year starter, Nick Sirianni, rookie head coach. This is the proven commodity Jalen Hurts, and this was the first time that we've seen, hey, maybe they should look elsewhere. So I'm just curious. And this is whatever you're thinking, tell us. We're not going to say you're wrong, don't do that. I think it's kind of crazy to say that he stinks. Like we had yesterday our first caller who's on our YouTube chat, Clutch. Clutch says, I told you he stinks. It's like, well, come on. You can't. He doesn't stink.
Come on, stop.
He might not be a top 5 quarterback, which I've been saying this whole time, but he doesn't stink. What do we got on the text line? It's 610-632-0975. We played you the Colin Cowherd audio earlier about Hurts, where he talked about how everything has to be perfect in order for him to truly succeed. What do we got on the text line?
Bruce in East Earl is coming to the defense of Jalen Hurts today. He says it's easy to kick the quarterback who's down at the moment and completely disregard what he's accomplished. I don't care about comparing Hurts to other quarterbacks. There are only a handful of active QBs that have been to the Super Bowl, less who have won, less that have been to multiple Super Bowls, and even less to win MVP of the Super Bowl. I'll take Hurts all day as my franchise QB.
The only thing I'd ask is, I'd ask the texter, is ask the other quarterbacks that if they were in the same situation, does he think that they would have also in Jalen Hurts' circumstance been there? Do they think they would have gotten there?
Right.
Did Jalen Hurts do something so special that other quarterbacks, if Joe Burrow was in Jalen Hurts' situation, had that offensive line to keep him healthy, if didn't
have to win by scoring 40 points every week.
If Josh Allen had his offensive line and had his weapons, does he actually believe that they would have accomplished less than Jalen Hurts?
Right. Now,
I'm not trying to take
now
anything
mental
away from
makeup is a
Jalen.
big one, right? Like in Colin Cowherd's clip, he literally does say intangibles is a big one, and that's mindset. We have seen the prototype Justin Herbert
absolutely
crap himself. We're talking about 4 interceptions for Jalen Hurts this past Monday night regular season. I watched Justin Herbert throw 4 interceptions in a playoff game.
How about the 2 playoff games he's played in were epic disasters?
Right. So let's not pretend like he was good on Monday night. The Eagles were just so bad.
Right, yeah. But Herbert carried the team running and all that kind of stuff.
Though, his eluding when Vic Fangio sent the dogs.
Oh, yeah.
He eluded
He escaped
them.
a few times.
He was unbelievable.
That Nakobe one was one of the more ridiculous plays.
And then he got 6 yards off of it.
Yeah.
Which he turned what would have been like a 4-yard loss into a 6-yard gain. So Colin Cowherd, he said what he said about Jalen Hurts, where he basically said things have to be perfect for Jalen Hurts to succeed. He kind of said the same thing about Sirianni.
This is a general manager, owner first franchise. I've said this about Nick Sirianni. The top head coaches, Shanahan, we've seen Matt LaFleur do it this year, McVay, Vrabel, they can fix a broken side of the ball. LaFleur's offense was broken a month ago. Now it's great. We've seen Vrabel do this. The O-line's banged up. He can fix it in season. I don't think Sirianni can. I don't think that's who he is. I'm watching that game last night, and it hit me. It's hard to believe the positivity bunny didn't work. It didn't have a bigger impact. And I wonder about his future because Philly is like LSU football. They don't win. They don't care. No sacred cows with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Which it's amazing. Imagine if they collapse second time in 3 years, but they've also been to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. So it's such a weird.
I'd consider it.
It's such a weird situation. I know you said it yesterday for the first time.
If the Dallas Cowboys win this division, I absolutely believe Jeff Lurie would consider it.
Here's why I don't think so. How many franchises in the NFL would trade places with the Eagles last 4 years? Let's say they lose out. How many franchises would still trade places with your last 4 years?
Yeah, but if they lose out, it goes back to exactly what we were talking about 2 years ago. We saw the issues continue to. I use
that
this,
he can't win without others.
Yeah, I've used this analogy a million times with the 2023 season. Imagine quarters 2 and 3 are not good in your business.
Yeah.
All right, you have your business. Forget sports. Quarters 2 and 3, you're busy. Your money, you're tanking, right? And then you have the big quarter 4 meeting. All right, sir, what are we going to do differently? Nothing. We're going to do the same thing. you would get fired.
Yeah, but then
Like, you would be fired. Your bosses would
Well,
fire you.
That's not the full story, because then that same CEO or whoever it is, manager, follows it up with the greatest fiscal year that the company has ever seen. That's the thing. Like, after 2023, I wanted Nick Sirianni so gone it wasn't funny.
I know. I was with you.
But here, though, the difference is, though, Connor, is that why did that happen? Because the president, the owner of the company, not the CEO, the guy who is the chairman of the board, the owner, he went out and handpicked and paid a defensive coordinator to come in and an offensive coordinator to come in that brought you that championship.
Absolutely. You're right. And Nick Sirianni needs help.
And Coward said that. He said this is a GM and owner-run franchise, which we've been talking about. Like, no, that's not like a damning statement.
I don't think Nick can ever walk into a boardroom if it's Howie and Lurie in the room, Mr. Lurie in the room. I don't think Howie can ever that Nick Sirianni can ever go in, Billy Big Balls, and walk in and go, dude, I want a Super Bowl. And I think they look at him and go, dude, are you serious? You tell me where you are on that pecking order.
Yeah, he doesn't come
Tell
first.
me where you go on that pecking order. Was Vic first?
Yes.
Was Kellen more? Was my maneuvering of this roster more? Like, I don't think Nick would ever have the guts to do that in a private meeting.
Now,
I think Doug Peterson did.
Yeah.
And I think it's what got him showed the door.
That hurt things.
And I think that Doug Peterson not having any sniffs of a head coaching job the next year showed you what the rest of the NFL thought. And I think it would be the same thing with Nick Sirianni. I don't think there'd be a bunch of NFL teams.
We saw Vrabel have a year out. Like, it happens.
It does.
Now,
and you see what Vrabel's doing, though.
The thing is with Sirianni, remember, a lot of the questions is whether or not he actually has a feel for the offense. Last week, it was reported by Tim McManus that he was more involved with the offensive game plan. And I know the 4 interceptions was very, very bad. But take a listen to Dan Orlovsky yesterday. He was on the Pat McAfee show, and he actually liked some things that he saw.
Football-wise, I've watched the tape, yes. I actually like a lot of the things that the Eagles did offensively. I was much more encouraged from the Eagles offense last night than I was many games this year.
From the play calls, the offense, or not Jalen? Just the play calls or everything?
Just the play calls, the style of offense. They were way more scheme diverse. They had way more route options. There were guys open more consistently last night than there have been all season.
Okay.
And Jalen Hurts had a really, really bad game. So Dan Orlovsky, and look, that's credit to Sirianni because Sirianni stepped in and was more involved with the offense. Now, again, I don't know why it took so long for Nick Sirianni to say maybe I should be a little bit more involved, considering the offense was horrible for the first 11, 12 weeks of the season, except for one game against the New York Giants. And it was because it was against the New York Giants.
Here's what I would say about it, though, is that I go back and I would welcome anybody who hears that soundbite. Just go back to Dan Orlovsky's timeline in the game when he was watching the game. Dan Orlovsky was ripping it.
Probably went back and watched the tape.
He was saying, but he's saying, why are you in shotgun so much? This is ridiculous. Shotgun, shotgun, shotgun. What are you doing?
Yeah, but remember, he was also the first guy to use the P word this year, predictability.
Yeah, but
so he saw different
so
things.
He may have seen that looking a little different, but he's like, still.
And that could be a start.
51 times in shotgun is stupidity.
Let's remember how low the bar is for the Eagles offense right now.
Look, I said this yesterday.
Point taken.
Was it almost too much change for the Eagles offense, and that's what led to 4 interceptions for Hurts because he couldn't pick up on it fast enough?
Really good point.
Just saying.
Wow. That's it. I don't want to think that. Because if I think that, then we've got the wrong quarterback.
Then he's a
then we've got the
maybe
wrong
he's
quarterback.
the 4 or 5 play quarterback.
Wait.
Just saying. I know. Oh, he won a Super Bowl. Yes. Thanks to the ground game getting you there. And then he played great in the title game in the Super Bowl, and I can't take that away from him.
All right,
coming up next.
That's bad if it happens.
More texts and calls. Jalen Hurts temperature check day today. I've been keeping it the same. A lot of people go up and down, up and down, up and down. Where are you at now? 610-632-0975. Also, we've talked about Dave Dombrowski kind of living off his resume for like 2 years now. How does he rebuild this outfield? Jason Stark spoke on it, and I saw a name reported that made me laugh so that I didn't cry. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
I know that Dan White and Associates, they have a great plan. They don't have like some up and down type of approach to things because every single person gets addressed individually because they specialize in retirement and financial planning. And what that means is, though Christmas cookies are a big thing, cookie cutter approaches with Dan White and Associates is not. They help you create retirement income if you're more down the road like I am. So you know that you're going to have the lifestyle that you want to live and the income to support it. They can also help you find certainty in your financial future if you're someone who really doesn't feel like you've got a plan going on right now at all. If you're just starting out, they can help you set up the guardrails so you feel like, hey, I feel like I've got a good plan. I feel like I've got some good ideas about how I'm going to be saving. They host educational seminars throughout Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Maryland. And as I tell you, you can go to them and you can be a passive listener. You can hear about what they do. You can hear about the kind of services they offer. And then you can have your own complimentary no-risk consultation that's more one-on-one, more personal, and I promise you, you'll feel more comfortable. Because discussions about money can sometimes be a little bit intimidating. But I promise you, Dan White and Associates, their entire team, you're going to feel comfortable. They offer you that complimentary no-risk consultation. So visit danwhiteandassociates.com. When you've been around for like 40 years, you're doing something right. You've got people's trust. Check out danwhiteandassociates.com.
.742 here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Coming up at 7:55, the great Adam Schefter will join us. There was a Lane Johnson eyeball emoji tweet 2 days ago. 3 days ago? Was it Sunday?
It was Monday night.
Monday night. There's a Lane Johnson.
I read too much. I maybe am reading too much into it, but I read into it that maybe we see Lane on Sunday.
All right.
Which, because I'm trying to figure out what could it mean.
Yeah.
Because Lane's not doing an eyeball. Lane's not tweeting about anybody but himself.
Right. So
he's not doing A.J. Brown, divisive stuff. So he's only tweeting about himself.
So we'll talk to Shefty about Lane Johnson and the rest of the state of the Eagles, including the report from Tim McManus last weekend that Nick Sirianni was more involved offensively, and when it led to another poor performance by the offense, mainly Jalen Hurts. What does that mean going into this week against the Las Vegas Raiders? Now, you guys both have to give a Wawa order.
Yeah, I got one.
All right, go ahead. We'll do one now, and then we'll do one right before bringing up Shefty.
I'm doing one, and I needed one yesterday morning. So I stopped at Wawa in Malvern, walked in. In fact, I got the 2 for $5, but I'm only needing one today. I got the sugar-free Red Bull.
Oh, yeah, you're a Red Bull guy after those
sugar-free Red Bull,
yeah.
Just when I need a little extra jolt.
All right, so if you're following along, we've given 2 orders so far for the Wawa run. If you get all 3 right, the first person to comment the correct answers on our YouTube chat will win the $50 gift card to Wawa. All right, Dave Dombrowski. You do know he still has to fix the outfield, too. So I love that they brought back Schwarber. I'm okay with Real Muto on 2 years, not a 3-year deal. But they still have no outfield. Like, Nick Castellanos is going to be gone because they hate him. Justin Crawford will be called up, so there's one of your 3. And then Harrison Bader's not under contract. So right now it's Justin Crawford's going to get called up, and Brandon Marsh might still be here, which you guys know how I feel about that.
Right.
Here was Jason Stark yesterday talking about the Phillies and what they have to do before the season starts.
Yeah, I don't remember this. A team that good that you look up 2 months later, 2 months after their last game, a month and change into the winter, and they're not set at any outfield position. They're aware of it. Nick Castellanos is not going to be back. They're clinging to the hope that they can trade him. I think it's more likely they release him. Justin Crawford's going to play center or left, but they don't know where. Brandon Marsh, as sit here today, will play somewhere. They don't know where. They're looking for new platoon pieces or an upgrade in center field, like a real everyday kind of center fielder. I don't know if Harrison Bader's that guy. His market is, I'm going to say his market's going to price him out of their range. That seems like a trade is more likely, but that can be in center, that can be in left. There's just too many options right now, but I guarantee you that when opening day comes along, there'll be somebody playing all 3 of those outfield possessions. Dave Dombrowski knows how that works.
All right, I need, first and foremost, for Dave Dombrowski to finally wake up that it's okay to have 3 everyday outfielders. Like, it's okay. You're allowed to have, I understand, playing the numbers game. It's okay to have 3 everyday outfielders. I still remember, John, a few years ago when Teoscar Hernandez was available, there was the report that they would rather have 4 outfielders because they want to play the numbers game with 2 of them. So what you're telling me is Dave Dombrowski preferred having 2 lesser players than 1 player.
Exactly.
Like that to me, like, that's stupid. That makes no sense to me. Again, this is why I keep on saying this man is living off of his resume. So you hear Jason Stark saying they might make a trade for an outfielder. I hope so. If they platoon 1 spot in the outfield, I'm okay with it.
I would be totally fine with 1 platoon.
I just don't want to see 1 everyday outfielder and then the other 2 corners or 1 corner in center field is a platoon every single day. I freaking hate it, dude.
But are we getting another platoon at second base, Connor?
I'd imagine
Unless they trade for Ketel Marte.
Yeah, but if Bryson Stott's still here, and I don't mind that because Edmundo Sosa is such a good platoon option.
Like, I mean,
he might be your third baseman.
Are we to the point?
We don't know.
Have the Phillies finally figured out that Bryson Stott's not an everyday player?
They've told you
yeah.
every year, and yet they go back to it.
Then they go
year.
back to it. I mean, like, can we? This is where I'm asking is like trying to figure stuff out. And
dude, Rob Thompson, after the season, I wanted to rip my hair out. Said, I think we have a little bit of a lefty-heavy lineup.
Oh my gosh!
Wow. You noticed something.
Ding, ding, ding.
It's been 3 years of the same lefties.
Yeah, but you know what, though? I don't. Now, the weird thing is I don't blame Rob Thompson for that. I blame the guy who buys the groceries.
No, but I'm just glad that somebody finally said it.
Yeah,
like,
but the thing
it was
is,
like a refusal to say it.
It's the guy who buys the groceries that's to blame for that. Is that, like, if they know Bryson Stott's not an everyday player, so then we're going to have a 1 platoon in the outfield and a platoon at second base, and then what? Then are we going to have another platoon? Because don't tell me you're going to.
They platooned 3 positions last year.
By the way, don't tell me that and I'm going to tell you right now, as much as I'm asking about Andrew Painter questions, Don't tell me that Aiden Miller, you're absolutely guaranteed he's ready to. Like, I don't know where he'd be saying that he's ready to go.
Unless they
Opening
finally.
day.
Well, look.
And is
we've been
Aiden
ripping
Miller
them,
ready to go?
We've been ripping them for waiting too long all the time.
I got
So,
you, but
maybe it's just something different. Now, there was a name that's popped up that's being talked about.
Who's that?
And I'm just going to laugh so that I don't cry.
Who?
Jake Myers has been a name that's been popping up.
No.
He's a center fielder. He's played for the Astros the last 5 years.
No.
As my man Ant used to say, pencil bat.
No.
Like, there's a guy that slaps.
No.
Hit 290 last year from the right side.
Okay, so you're going to have your outfield. Think about this for a second. Let's say they make the trade for Jake Myers. All right? Power positions. That is still a thing. Like, there's a reason why I get so upset that my third baseman
what's he playing
hits
for?
15 home runs.
He's your
right?
center?
Center fielder.
That's not a power
So think about this for a second. Well, Justin Crawford will play left field. He hits singles.
And then that's not a power position.
Your center fielder in Jake Myers hits singles.
Yes.
And if Brandon Marsh is still on this team playing right field, that's your most power bat.
And what's he, 20?
That's embarrassing. So I
That's an
can't.
embarrassing
Just because he hit
outfield.
290, that's beautiful, right? But now I'm going to have 3 pencil bats in center field. My third baseman, if he's still here, can't lift the ball.
And Harper's power is diminishing. And you can't count on Schwarber to carry you. Turner is not giving you power.
Jake Myers, come on.
Come on. Like, what do you, like, a
But
bunch
that's
of
that's a
slap ball?
Dombrowski thing. I got to show you how smart I am.
By the way, Connor, another thing that people got to look at too, and as our earlier debate, and we're going back and forth about this, looking forward. Another thing to look forward to. 2026, I applaud this whole thing. Remember what's coming, and I believe it's absolutely coming, set in stone. I think a salary cap's coming. And if a salary cap's coming, all these big money long-term contracts, you're going to have a certain amount of time to get in compliance with a salary cap.
Sure.
And the Phillies are going to be El Scrudo trying to get these contracts because it's going to hamper them. They're going to have to go El Cheapo on the young guys, which they don't have in their system.
Yeah.
To be able to, because it's going to be like, oh, we have a lockout in 27. They come back with a salary cap, and if they do it like the NHL, they'd have 2 years to get in compliance. Oh, and you're still going to have 3-4 years left of Turner, Harper, all the Nola
There would be
to deal with.
There would be a lot of really good contending teams in baseball that would have trouble with that.
Oh, by the way, the Dodgers also signed Edwin Diaz yesterday.
Isn't it amazing?
They just had another
Isn't it amazing?
superstar.
Yep.
Yeah, just
Loser.
another near $70 million to give out. Why
All
not?
right, coming up next, Adam Schefter joins us. Connor will give his Wawa order, and then the first person on our YouTube chat to give all 3 in order will win the $50 gift card to Wawa. We talk about the Eagles' offense, the state of the Eagles, and a potential return of Lane Johnson with Adam Schefter next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
5 more years of Schwarber. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies got their man yesterday, signing Kyle Schwarber to a 5-year, $150 million deal. Schwarber led the National League in home runs and RBIs this past season, was runner-up for National League MVP honors, and is now back in Philly for the long haul. Jason Stark of The Athletic talked about the importance of signing Kyle Schwarber, but also where the Phils could go next now that they've got their guy.
In order for them to do more, they need to free up some money. And that means there's incentive to make trades on multiple levels, not just to avoid running it back, but to create a little more payroll flexibility.
The Phillies also agreed to a contract extension with manager Rob Thompson yesterday, so he's locked down through the 2027 season as the manager of the Phillies. The Eagles are trying to find some way to pull out of their 3-game losing streak, so they're going to start working towards their next matchup. It's the Raiders this Sunday. Nick Sirianni meets with the media today at 12:20. The Flyers had another nice win last night. They just keep stacking them up. They took down the Sharks 4-1. They're off until tomorrow. We're going to talk to Adam Schefter of ESPN coming up next for the latest on the Birds. Tim Kelly of On Pattison joins us at 9:25 for the talk on Schwarber's contract. This update's brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that's built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and the best Birds coverage. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
It is 7:55 here on Kincade and Salciunas 97.5, the Fanatic, WPEN, HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. It is a Wednesday at 7:55, which means we will be joined momentarily by our man Adam Schefter from ESPN. It is also Happy Wawa Day. So, Connor, quickly give your order for the Wawa run, and then the first person on our YouTube chat, so Rodman and Austin Jones in the back, up to you guys to make this happen, will win the $50 gift card to Wawa. So what do we got, Connor? What are you adding?
You know, I love a good deal, and the Phillies might not have gotten one yesterday, but I'm getting a Schwarberfest deal Italian hoagie.
All right, so we have our three orders.
Going on with it. That's good.
And first person to get all three in order correct on our YouTube chat will win the $50 Wawa gift card. Joining us now on the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. From ESPN, our man Adam Schefter joins us. Shefty, it is now 3 straight losses for the Philadelphia Eagles. Good morning.
Happy Wawa Day to you guys.
That's really the only happy thing that's going on in Philly. Obviously, you were there because it was a Monday night countdown. So what did you make of the 3rd straight loss for the Eagles and the 4 interceptions thrown by Jalen Hurts?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't there. I was in my house, but the viewpoint was the same. And it was a messy game. It was a turnover fest. I actually thought the offense showed certain signs of life. It seemed like they got Saquon going. It would have been nice to kind of stick with that a little bit more. But the turnovers, nobody can overcome that. Nobody's going to overcome that. When you turn over the football that many times in the course of one game, that's the recipe for a loss.
Okay, can we then look at it, though, and say, how do you run Saquon 5 times in the second half? I mean, seriously, it's like
there you go.
They just it's as if they don't have a clue. And I hate to be disrespectful like that at this point, but that's what they've literally got out of this fan base is there's no feel for what's going on. 51 snaps from shotgun, 15 under center, and the snaps under center highly more successful. The yards per attempt passing, the yards rushing, so much more successful. And it's as if they ignored their own analytics and their own success rate.
Well, I'll just say this, that when you put on the game at the start of the night, Saquon seemed to be having his way. He was breaking free. He was turning the corner. He was ringing up the type of runs that we haven't seen with any degree of consistency at all this year. We haven't seen really at all this year. And as you mentioned, they got away with it. 5 runs in the second half. 5. I don't know why that is, but that's why it was. And that's a good part of why they lost the game.
So
because it was right there for them. It was right there for them. They just had to keep following that. They didn't do that.
Shefty, you mentioned that you liked some of the things that you saw from the offense, including Saquon getting going in the first half. Dan Orlovsky yesterday in the Pat McAfee show kind of said the same thing. You know, minus the 4 interceptions, the offense looked pretty good. So this was the week where ESPN's own Tim McManus reported that Nick Sirianni was going to get more involved with the play calling. What have you heard, or not the play calling, the game planning? What have you heard on that front? Do you expect more of the same? Do you expect Sirianni to be even more heavy-handed? And what led to this, in your opinion?
Well, I would think that it'll continue going on. He's the head coach. The team's lost 3 in a row. Again, I thought the offense showed signs of life. What led to it is the fact that the offense had been flat. It had been unpredictable. It had been predictable. It had been not very innovative. And so I think Nick Sirianni got involved because it's his team ultimately, and he has to answer for everything. And if the offense is not getting the job done, then it's his job to step in to make sure that it does. And that's, to a certain extent, what that was about. He was apparently, according to Tim, more involved in the meetings, more vocal, spoke longer at the meetings. I don't know the exact role he had in the offense other than suppose he had a bigger role. And yes, I would expect it to continue. And yes, I would hope that they would get back to running the football.
So what have you heard with how Patullo has been running these offensive meetings? Because that's what we heard. that it has been the Patullo show. I don't think Nick Sirianni was in his office playing tiddlywinks during the offensive meetings. I would imagine he was involved. But was this the Patullo offense up until last week before Sirianni got more involved?
I really don't know how it breaks down, other than Kevin was the offensive coordinator. It's his show, and the show wasn't getting it done. I mean, that's all we could really say. I don't have the specifics of how it broke down. I just don't know that. But it was enough that Nick felt he had to get involved and did. And like we said, the offense showed certain signs of improvement, but not nearly enough on Monday night. And there's clearly more work to do, and we'll leave that to them to figure out how they want to address that and do that.
When how much of in danger do you believe people that you are speaking to around the NFL believe the Eagles are to giving up this division lead to the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, I thought the Cowboys' loss last Thursday night was a big deal. And I still think, like, if the Eagles can hold on to the lead, what is it? It's a game and a half right now?
It's a game and a half, but if the Cowboys could win out, but the Eagles have that game at Buffalo that could be a problem, so they just have to win the other three. The magic number's 3. If they win the 2 Commanders games and the Raider game, the Eagles win the division.
I mean, if you can't beat the Commanders and the Raiders
Exactly.
3 times, you don't deserve to win the division.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay?
Exactly.
So I mean, and I'll say this, like, not to put the pressure on them, but if you can't beat the Commanders twice and the Raiders and you don't win the division, to go back to the question, there are going to be questions that come up that have to be answered. There just are.
All right.
And so, you know, that's not an ultimatum, but I'm just telling you, like, all season long, the city's been in an uproar about the way this team has performed. So that, for all the chatter that there's been, if they were unable to beat the Commanders and or the Raiders, oh my God, I can't only imagine what the conversations would be like.
So let's talk about these questions. All right. After the 2023 season, I was ready to move on from Nick Sirianni, and John Kincade to my left was not. Now it's almost like roles reverse. If there's another collapse, John would consider it.
If they miss the playoffs, yes.
Or even if they back their way in continuously like they are now and get eliminated in the first round, much like the 2023 season, is that even a thought that would cross Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman's mind about guys like Nick Sirianni or, hell, maybe even Jalen Hurts at this point? Because we know that the Eagles aren't just happy making the playoffs.
But I can't answer the specifics because we don't know how it's going to play out. But I feel comfortable in saying that if they were to fail to make the playoffs, if there were losses in there to the Commanders and Raiders that cost them the division title in a playoff spot, I don't know what the fallout would be other than I would be comfortable in saying there would be fallout. What that's going to be, there are weeks to discuss and dissect and figure out, but there would be fallout if they fell short of making the playoffs because of losses to the teams we're talking about.
I know you hear things, so I'm going to ask you, and anything you can feel free to share. Have the whispers, has the chatter, has the gossip around the Philadelphia Eagles out of that locker room that people are hearing, has it calmed down?
What chatter and in what way is it calmed? What does that mean? I'm kind of confused.
We were hearing all the stuff about the problems. There was problems with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts and the subtexting, and then there was Big Dom supposedly having to step in, and then so I'm wondering.
I just think it's football business. It's stuff that happens with every team. It's stuff that happens with every team when they lose 3 games in a row. I don't know of anything that's more extreme or something that I'm hearing that you're not about the team. Some sort of whispers and speculation. And look, you know, they've lost 3 games in a row. You're looking for some magic answer as to what's gone wrong or what they're going to do. got to just go and win the game. Who do they play this week?
They play the Raiders.
Vegas?
They play the Raiders, and they yes, they're the Raiders.
I mean, okay. I'm just telling you they should win that game. I don't know what the line is. If they don't win that game by double digits, and it's in Philly, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's 11.5, by the way.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Well, I said they should win the game by double digits. I didn't even know what the number is. That's right. They should win that game 24-13, 28-10, 31-10, whatever it is. There should be a statement win, like we're back, we're fighting. You know, we're going to be heard from here.
That would be nice.
And if there's not, then the alarms that you guys have been sounding for weeks ahead of everybody, they would start ringing really loud.
Shefty, do we see Lane Johnson anytime soon with the Philadelphia Eagles?
Oh, they need him back. They're hoping to have him back. I guess we'll see today if he practices at all.
You saw his tweet, correct? Did you see his tweet with the eyeballs?
What was the tweet?
He put out the double eyeballs tweet on Monday night before the game. So it's sort of saying like there might be news coming. So we're hoping that means he is going to come back, hopefully, because they're terrible without him. They're bad without him.
Yeah, they are. I think it's a little soon, but I also know that guy's a warrior, and he does things that most people can and wouldn't. So I certainly would not rule him out, but I wouldn't count on him either.
All right.
This week.
Last thing, I just got to ask your thoughts on it. Could this Phillip Rivers story be the greatest story ever in the NFL or the biggest disaster? Adam Schefter, the floor is yours.
Listen, it's great whenever Phillip Rivers comes back. You know, there aren't many grandfathers who have played in the National Football League. You know, Brett Favre was a grandfather. Phillip Rivers is a grandfather. Phillip Rivers has children that are older than some of the players he'll play with. His oldest child, I believe, is older than Tyler Warren, and I'm sure that's not the only one. Like, there are all sorts of facts and stats that we could get into that make this fascinating. If he's signed to the active roster, obviously his Hall of Fame, and he's a Hall of Fame semifinalist this year. That goes away if he signs to the active roster, and the clock restarts, and they have to wait to become a member of the class of 2031.
Oh, my gosh.
So at which point he'd be 49 years old anyway. It's not like he'd be really old.
Right.
And Phillip Rivers is a fun guy. Phillip Rivers played in an AFC Championship game against the Patriots with a torn ACL.
Yep.
He does things that a lot of people don't. I just think it speaks to how much he loves football. It speaks to how desperate the Colts are. It speaks to the respect that Phillip Rivers and Shane Steichen have for each other. And it speaks for something that everybody is waiting and watching to see with great curiosity.
Shefty, we
job,
appreciate the
Adam.
time as always, man. We'll talk to you again next week. And to your point, the Eagles offense better show up on Sunday, or, man, next week will be fun.
Positivity bunny.
Positivity bunny.
Yeah, we can make this very simple. Saquon and Tank Bigsby, there should be 30 carries on Sunday.
There we
And
go.
They should run for 211 yards.
Yeah, Saquon will get 29 of them, and Tank will get 1.
Well, however, Tank should get 7-8 carries.
No, we agree.
Look,
we agree
we've
with
been
you.
begging for that.
The Eagles coaching staff does not, apparently.
Adam, I know it would be a pay cut, but they're going to be looking for an offensive coordinator this offseason, so just think about it.
Shefty, we
Don't cut off
appreciate
your
the
list.
time, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, buddy. See ya.
Have a great week, guys.
Thanks,
Adam Schefter on the Comcast Biz Hotline. All right, coming up next.
Even Adam Schefter, even Adam just knows.
Yeah.
It's so
Change
basic
is
what they
coming,
should be
man.
doing.
Change is coming.
Yes.
Second opinion segment. Now that we had another night to sleep off of the game that we just so loved on Monday.
Oh, boy.
Something that we may not have talked about, we'll talk about next, because obviously the offense and Jalen Hurts' horrible performance took over the entire show yesterday. That's the point of the second opinion segment. We do that next. By the way, congratulations to Andrew Ellis, who was our winner of the $50 gift card to Wawa. It is Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic. All right, let's talk about your house. Abnormally dry conditions lead to drought. A lack of rainwater and reduced moisture in the soil can damage your home, specifically its foundation, due to the soil's expansion and shrinkage. We all know the issues with expansion and shrinkage. Groundworks experts are here to help. If you've noticed your home has cracked bricks, basement floor or concrete cracks, floor and wall gaps, both basement walls, or cracked chimneys, these problems, they only get worse during drier times. And then when it gets wet out, then it gets dry again, then it gets wet out, then it gets dry again. That's what happens to your house. We don't really think about that kind of stuff. We're just wondering, man, is the lawn getting enough rain today? This is why you need Groundworks to come out, identify the problem, and provide a foundation solution. Just visit groundworks.com today, book your free inspection, and you'll get a no-obligation quote on the job if they believe that you need a job done. They do all of that, by the way, for free. It's the job itself that you're paying for. Check them out online, groundworks.com. Groundworks is ready to take care of you during wet or dry season. There's a reason why. They're the trusted local experts. It's 8:14 here on Kincade and Salciunas 97.5, the Fanatic. So we already gave away our third of the week, $50 gift card to Wawa. I have to give away a third pair of passes for the True Fan Travel Tailgate.
Oh, looks like
for
it's
this
going to be
Sunday's
fun.
game. Oh, it's going to be a blast. It's always a great time, regardless of the team.
Regardless of the team.
Yeah.
What about the weather conditions?
What is it changed? You told me 31 and sunny the other day.
Yeah, things changed a little bit potentially. I saw
we got a
last
storm
night.
coming, Harry? What we got?
Well, there could be some precipitation. There could be some snow showers.
All right, there's a tent.
There could be some snow showers. No, snow, but still warmer than it was for the Bear game.
Okay.
But there could be snow showers.
All right.
So this could be a fun one, like a snow early morning.
Maybe
game.
we just need another snow game to get things right.
That'd be good.
Against the Raiders.
No, they'd probably throw the ball. They'd go in shotgun, and they would probably decide to throw the ball 40 times. Just figuring it out.
All right.
Just figuring the minds
That's
of
probably what will happen.
Kevin Petullo.
All right. It is time now for our second opinion segment.
You might not always agree with what you hear. Sometimes you need a second opinion. Brought to you by the consultants in medical oncology and hematology.
Tell us about them, Johnny.
Well, when you need the second opinion, if they're not, they should be your first opinion. But if it's your second opinion, you get a cancer diagnosis in your family, if it's you or otherwise, make sure that you call CMOH.org. They are the best. I'm telling you right now, they are fantastic.
All right, second opinion segment. It's our chance to sort of dive a little bit deeper into the previous game because we're always going to talk about the number one story. And the number one story was Jalen Hurts' horrid performance throwing 4 interceptions against the Chargers. So a chance to maybe show some love to somebody because there were players on the Eagles defense that had a hell of a day. And I'm going to start off with going with one that's not one of the big names from this past Sunday, but I'm going to give some love to Marcus Epps because I don't like Sidney Brown. I am not a fan of his play whatsoever.
Not personally.
No, not personally.
You're just talking about him.
I don't like him as a player whatsoever. And if I had to watch this defense with Sidney Brown the remainder of the season because of Drew McCou's injury, I'd have a lot of anxiety. I don't know what Marcus Epps or didn't know what Marcus Epps had left in the tank. We did not hear his name much, which is a good thing. Now, Justin Herbert couldn't really throw downfield. There was no time to because the pass rush
was great.
Was so freaking good. But in game one, following the injury and replacing a guy that drives me insane, I'm going to give kudos to Marcus Epps this morning. Go ahead, John.
Funny you said something. You took something that was sort of off mine, but it wasn't Marcus Epps. It was the idea that watching the 15-minute game, which made me smile a little bit, was the fact that last year, as the calendar turned to December, all of a sudden, the pass rush came of age. And boy, did it become prolific and help them win a Super Bowl. It certainly was one of the most dramatic games that I can notice this entire season of just harassment of a quarterback.
7 sacks.
And that was fantastic. Now, look, they were a vulnerable team on the offensive line. Well, look what's coming up. Vulnerable teams on the offensive line.
Right.
So you can get after it, by the way, with vulnerable quarterbacks.
And by the way,
good.
This was without Jalen Carter.
Yes.
So, shout out to Byron Young, who had a hell of a game on Monday.
I'm telling you. And Jordan Davis.
Oh, dude, he was a beast.
And let me that's the one thing, is Jordan Davis looked even better in the 15-minute game than he looked in the real game.
He was getting into the backfield, man.
Jordan Davis talked before the game that he felt good that they could weather the storm in the absence of Jalen Carter. Jordan Davis talked the talk, walked the walk. Unfortunately, Kevin Petullo didn't help.
Well, Jalen didn't help.
Yeah.
First.
Yes.
What else we got?
I don't have any love to give to anybody. I'm glad you guys brought up the defense, but mine is something that the Eagles did not do on offense. So we talked to Tim McManus of ESPN, on the pregame show. I asked him, how much do you think the Eagles are actually buying into the idea of using Jalen Hurts in the running game? He said they're absolutely buying into it. No minced words by Tim McManus. And then you come out of that game and Jalen Hurts ran 4 times for 8 yards. Meanwhile, Justin Herbert, who was bleeding from his elbow and had a broken hand, ran 10 times for 66. I understand those weren't all designed runs by Herbert, but the fact that you talk about that and just don't remotely execute it, that's the bottom line. They say stuff, they don't do stuff. And Hurts had a bad game, sure, but you got to take care of the stuff you can control. Call more running plays for Jalen Hurts before I lose my damn mind.
Unless he's reluctant to.
I don't care anymore.
No, and this is what's going to be interesting. They're going to get to the playoffs, right? They're going to get to the playoffs, right? They're going to get to the playoffs.
Yes, they are.
If Jalen Hurts truly is, I'm going to do whatever it takes to win. I would imagine come playoff time, they dial up the run a little bit more. Because if the reports are true, and I believe our reporters in this city, that he, before the season started, made it clear he did not want to run the football as much to sort of maybe preserve himself, right? There's no excuses come playoff time. You got to do what you got to do in order to win. You have to. But I hear what you're saying, Connor. We did not do today's headlines, which would have been brought to us by who?
Our friends over at Lundy Law. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name Lundy Law, your injury lawyers. Visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com.
It was interesting. One of our followers here, says he's never heard Adam Schefter so candid and being willing to go along with us in that the critique of the Eagles coaching staff seems extremely valid. He must be hearing things.
It's amazing. Like
he was very much like he didn't poo-poo anything we said.
Think about how first world problems we have it here, right? What means more? The 2 Super Bowls or the 2 collapses? Think about that for a second.
Well, I think what the Eagles are saying is a competent coach could come in here with everything that they're given.
Exactly.
And could win.
It's a temperature check Wednesday on Jalen Hurts. We'll check our text line and calls coming up next on that. Where are you at with Jalen Hurts? It was loud yesterday, the lack of belief in Jalen Hurts when it comes to carrying the team. Some of you are just a week late. That's all. 610-632-0975. But coming up next, John Kincade also sent me an email. I told you the Bears game broke me. The Chargers game clearly broke him because he's comparing what could be a collapse to one of the worst single-game collapses in NFL history. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Look, I have a Bradford White water heater in my home. I have all the hot water I ever need on demand. I had like the best night's sleep I've had in forever last night. It was absolutely awesome. But I got up this morning and I had a nice, relaxing shower to start the day. Felt better about the way Wednesday started with my Bradford White. Bradford White's awesome. They are reliable. They're top performance year after year. It's what people come to expect. You may not even know how long the water heater in your home has been there. Well, that could be a recipe for disaster, especially if it's been there for more than 10 years. You also may be paying way too much to heat the water in your home. Their new Infinity tankless models and Aerotherm hybrid heat pump models are really, really efficient. They're going to save you cash, and also, too, they're going to take up a lot less space. And Bradford White's got models for your home, for your business. To learn more, go to BradfordWhite.com, and they'll put you in touch with a plumbing professional in your area. That plumbing professional then brings you the Bradford White model that hits perfectly for your home or for your business, and it's fantastic. They're going to help your family stay comfortable and content with all the hot water that you need or for your business. Look, how you heat your water, it does matter. Count on my friends at Bradford White. Go to BradfordWhite.com.
Now, Sports Update.
A big news day for the Phils. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies got their man yesterday taking care of Kyle Schwarber's 5-year, $150 million contract in free agency. Schwarber led the National League in home runs and RBIs this past season, was runner-up for MVP honors, and now is back in Philadelphia for the next half-decade. Jason Stark of The Athletic joined Unfiltered yesterday, and he talked about the impact of signing a guy like Kyle Schwarber.
This had to happen. He was the centerpiece of their entire offseason. You know, they had to send him out there into the free agent market, try to figure out what's he actually worth, because there's nobody comparable to him. There's nobody like him, really, in the history of the sport.
That wasn't the only news the Phils made yesterday, though. They also agreed to a contract extension with manager Rob Thompson, keeping him in Philly through the 2027 season. Eagles are trying to find some way to pull out of their 3-game skid. They're going to start working towards their matchup with the Las Vegas Raiders this Sunday. Nick Sirianni will meet with the media coming up at 12:20 today. The Flyers had another impressive win last night, taking down the Sharks 4-1. They are off until tomorrow. We're going to talk to Tim Kelly coming up at 9:25 for his reaction to the Schwarber deal. This update's brought to you by Philly Sports Trips. Andrew Salciunas is hosting the True Fan Tailgate before the Eagles-Raiders game this Sunday, December 14th. Brought to you by True Fan Travel and 97.5 The Fanatic. All-inclusive food, drinks, live entertainment, and a short walk to the stadium. Reserve your spot now at phillysportstrips.com. I'm Connor Thomas for 97.5 The Fanatic.
All right, what do we got on the text line, Connor? If you're just tuning in, today is temperature check day. I like to do this every once in a while with our polarizing figures in the city, and Jalen Hurts is one of them.
Marcus, I forgot to tell you earlier. Marcus asks, how is Andrew checking our temperature? Because watching the last few Eagles games, it hasn't been with an oral thermometer.
Joe the Cynic chimed in on the DMs earlier saying, I ain't checking no man's temperature unless it's a forehead scanner.
There you go.
Where are we at with Jalen Hurts? Yesterday was the first day where we had bench Jalen Hurts comments, calls, texts, and like a lot of them. Not a couple people that just have never really been a big fan. There were more people than ever before yesterday, and I get it. After throwing 4 interceptions in a game, you're going to get sort of an upswell of people that are upset with the quarterback.
I think he threw 3 and AJ got
Right, he had the bad drop.
AJ got 1.
But Jalen Hurts has had a subpar season this year.
Yes.
And he'll be the first to tell you, standard's the standard, right? They're 8-5. They've lost their last 3 games. I can make the case that 2 of them are because of him. I can make the case that he's been one of the worst players on the team over the last 5 weeks, right? Because even the wins against the Packers and Lions, he and the offense looks horrible. And so there's people looking around going, all right, if not for this defense, then where is this team right now? They lose both of those Lions and Packers games. Telling you, right, like, if the defense was ridiculous. They held the Packers to 7 and the Lions to 9.
And they had the Bears to 10 into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Despite giving up all the yardage.
They're lucky they've not lost 5 straight.
Correct.
If we're being honest with ourselves.
If we're being honest with ourselves,
we're lucky they've
right
not
now,
lost 5 games in a row.
They would be 6 and 7 right now if not for this great defense.
They'd be behind the Cowboys in the division.
They would be.
All right.
Yes.
Let's get to Matt in Abington, then we'll get a text message. And then you said something to me yesterday that I can't wait to get into. Let's go to Matt. Matt, you're on Kincade and Salciunas.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hi, Matty.
Listen, here's the thing. Jalen Hurts, he's a Super Bowl MVP. You cannot take away his physical talent, his athleticism. The issue comes to how he plays the game and why he's playing. I have 2 grown-up adult sons. I've coached a lot of Pee Wee football over the years. Jalen Hurts plays football like his dad is making him play. Like, you can just see it. It's always kind of been that way. And right now, he's more concerned about the pH level in his heated swimming pool than he is about winning the game. Compare him to any other quarterback out there, he just doesn't have the heart to do it.
I don't question his heart. Like Jalen Hurts,
I don't trust.
He is a guy that I will never question his heart and his will to want to win. Look, I know there's some concerns with him not wanting to run the football as much. Maybe he's trying to preserve his body.
Correct.
But I don't think this is a heart thing. I think Jalen Hurts will do whatever it takes to win. The question is, when it's his turn to be the reason why you're winning, dropping back to throw the ball 30 to 35 times, he may have certain limitations that keeps them from winning games.
But that's, I get it. But when you have Sirianni stepping up, changing this sort of overall dynamic, you realize that, like, Jalen is probably not capable of doing that style of football. Everyone talks about we want him to run more. Sure, I mean that's where he shines. But you put someone like Tanner McKee back there, this team looks completely different. This looks a lot more like, when Nick Foles comes in, right? It's just the team would function differently.
Yeah, all right, differently, but the question, Matt, and thanks for the call.
Foles had an NFL season as a starter.
Yeah.
When he was 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. You know nothing about Tanner McKee.
So different.
Nothing.
Differently, yes, it would look different because he's not a guy that's running around. He's not as mobile.
But we know nothing about
Does
Tanner McKee.
different mean better?
Right. We know nothing about Tanner McKee. The Eagles know everything they need to know about Tanner McKee.
Like, you're a Family Guy fan.
Yes, love Family Guy.
Connor, you probably know. I don't know if you've seen this episode.
I imagine I have.
Which one?
You could either get the boat or you could get the mystery box.
Yes.
It could even be a boat.
And Peter says it could be another boat.
Right.
And so you know what you have in Jalen Hurts. Does he have limitations? Sure. What do you hear about people with boats? There's the two best
Well,
days
wait a
of
minute.
a boat.
Ron Davis has just learned this.
The two best days of somebody with a boat: the day they buy it
and the day they get rid of it.
Sell it. Right?
Yes.
We don't know. Like Jalen Hurts, maybe next week he does throw 4 touchdowns and doesn't throw 4 interceptions. I don't know who Tanner McKee is. I watched Tanner McKee throw it all over the field against the Giants in the final game of the regular season when the Giants were ready to play golf.
I mean, anybody who tells you they know what Tanner McKee is, you have no clue. And you didn't watch him in college football.
He's not extending. He's not extending plays.
You don't know anything about him. And with a shaky offensive line, that is a real problem. With an offensive line that is extremely shaky.
Right.
Tanner McKee is not the kind of prototype quarterback you'd go, oh, this is really good. A guy that isn't very elusive with an offensive line that's leaking oil.
Questioning Jalen Hurts' heart is completely unfair.
That's completely out of line.
It's unfair.
And more importantly, I would absolutely I absolutely believe Jalen will bounce back and have some games that make people go, oh, wow. So Jalen's in there, but we just might be the competition, might be
maybe
whatever.
Maybe. All right, tell us about this collapse that you're fearing.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now. Everyone mocks. What is the worst collapse in NFL history, Connor?
28-3.
Yes. Worst collapse ever. Everybody, all you have to say is 28-3, and every NFL fan knows it.
Or I will say, but bigger stage Super Bowl, that Chargers Jaguars playoff game wasn't it 31?
Sure, it was 27-0 at halftime.
That was pretty bad.
But it's not the Super Bowl.
But it's not the Super Bowl. Correct.
Yeah. The Eagles in 2023 had the worst collapse of any 10-1 team in history
ever. Yep, because there was the extra game.
Well, this year the Eagles were 8-2. And they were leading 21-0 in Dallas. Blew that game, and they've since lost multiple games, and they're now 8-5. If somehow Dallas comes back and wins this division, I am telling you right now, that will be the worst choke job in NFL history. Period. Worse than 28-3, because 28-3 happened in an hour-and-a-half period of people's lives. It happened in a short-term period of cataclysmic bad decisions, fluky plays, bad decisions. This is undergoing months. This is undergoing a couple months of it's going to require a bad decision.
And by the way, with a year to already go back to and say, how can we do things differently?
And you are a Super Bowl championship club.
Yeah.
This will be they will go back to 21-0 in Dallas, down. If they come back and win this division, it is the worst choke job ever in NFL history, and every Eagles fan, all of us, will have to own it, and are going to have to own it forever, and are going to have to be mocked about it forever, and it's going to be very well deserved. And every Eagle player, every Eagle coach is going to have that tattooed on their legacy forever, because it will be far worse than losing one game that you're up 28-3. If you gag away this division, if this happens, this is far worse what you've done. And the fact that it all started with a 21-0 lead when you had an 8-2 record would make it all worse, because the team that you were up 21-0 on is the one that comes back and smokes you.
That was the beginning, man.
And it's Dallas.
There's one thing that I will debate.
Okay.
Eagles fans, I don't think have to own it, because we are going to hate this team more than anyone outside the city is going to hate this team if that happens.
That's a great, Connor. That's a great point.
I think we'll disown them.
So you think Eagles fans won't push back on the narrative?
We're not going to sit here and be like, no, don't make fun of the Eagles. We're like,
look, I get angry when I'm told on ESPN when I do my shifts that we have rich people problems.
We kind of do, but
because I'm going to tell
you,
but like,
I don't
it still
blame us for
pisses me off.
acting
It's because I live it. So to John's point,
you're a very rich person.
Because I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you right now. The 28-3 in Atlanta, it wounded them, and to this day and age, it wounds them awfully. 28-3 would just. I would wait sometimes and give the clock on like a 2:00 hour, so then I go, oh, it's 28-3. Just to turn it a little bit.
Jerk. Coming up next. So what if it happens? Seriously, what if it happens? What changes? I think this will be a topic we spend a little bit more time on tomorrow. But when Adam Schefter tells us, have that clip ready, have Rodman go back and get it, that there'd be a lot of questions. What carries more weight? The 2 Super Bowl appearances or potentially 2 collapses? Let's discuss this a little bit coming up next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. All right. Regardless of how you feel about the team right now, the party with Philly sports trips at home or on the road is always a freaking good time. It wasn't Eagles fans' fault that the Birds lost Monday night against the Chargers when so many of you traveled with Philly sports trips to cheer on, root on, support your team, and, of course, have a damn good party out west. Well, just because we don't have to hit the road does not mean we can't still have a damn good party, and there will be one this Sunday before the Birds take on Vegas. Same awesome tailgate. Travel experience, you're just going to your own backyard with Philly sports trips and 97.5 The Fanatic. We're talking about the all-inclusive food and drinks, the live entertainment, the special guests, the former players, the sea of Birds fans, what Philly sports trips does all the time, home and on the road. And the best part is this is just a short walk to the link. I'll be hanging out there with you, giving away prizes, getting everyone fired up for the game. Plus, if you don't win a ticket on the air, you can buy tickets at phillysportstrips.com and purchase. Part of the proceeds go to the Eagles Autism Foundation. So not only are you tailgating to have a good time, support the Birds, you're also supporting a great cause. Hit up phillysportstrips.com for tickets. That's phillysportstrips.com. The True Fan Tailgate Travel. Check them out. The only way to pregame with True Fan Travel, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Sean.
Hey, real quick, congratulations to Justin on our YouTube chat. The beauty of our YouTube chat, in case people don't know, we reference it often. You know, they're talking about the show, hating what we're talking about, too much Patullo half the time. But they're also a community, which I love. And Justin just informed everybody that he is now 60-day cigarette-free.
Oh, that's
Nice.
great.
Congrats, man.
Went cold turkey because the nicotine pouches were too expensive. I hear you. So 60-day cigarette free, and he's already telling everybody how much better he feels just breathing. Like just the breathing 60 days in feels so much better.
What have you ever done like that? So congratulations on that. That is fantastic. What have you ever done like that you've given up?
I was a big chew tobacco guy in high school in the early parts of college.
Did you give it up? Did you just give it up cold
Yeah, I
turkey
just
like that?
Yeah. I just
Connor?
I am 2 days Eagles free. Well, technically like a day and a half.
I gave up Coca-Cola.
Yeah, you were like a daily soda, right?
I used to drink a 2-liter soda every 2 days.
Jeez.
So a 2-liter soda every
Yeah.
2 days. I loved Coca-Cola. And one of my buddies was a smoker. And he smoked when he golfed and he smoked when he drank. And so after my second cancer, I said, you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
It's stupid. Why'd you do that? And he goes, it's something I can't give up. And I don't smoke all the time. He goes, you couldn't give up Coca-Cola. So I literally I had a Coke with my lunch, one of those like bottles. And then I had them bring another one over that I would take home. And I said, this is the last Coke I will ever drink.
How about that?
And I've never had a Coke again.
And since then, he's drank soda, and you've been a big cigarette smoker.
No, he has smoked, but he has smoked. But now he only smokes because he is now with a woman that has stayed with him for a long time.
So
he only
cigarettes.
smokes when he golfs, and he
Oh.
bums cigarettes off of people that he golfs with.
All right. Well, that's
So I guess
better.
it's progress.
A step in the right direction. I like your idea, Andy. A little vice swap.
Yeah.
Vice swap.
You take mine, I take yours.
Yes.
Congratulations to Justin.
That's great, Justin.
That's great work,
Justin,
man.
great
We're
work,
happy
dude.
for you.
That's great. And the cold turkey thing is, you can do things. You can do things cold turkey.
It's tough.
It's tough.
I get it. Yeah.
But you can.
All right. Jalen Hurts temperature check day. Where are we at? Let's go to Grant in Rochester. What's up, Grant?
Hey, how you doing?
Is that Rochester, New York?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Eagles fan and Bills Giants country.
Oh, there you go.
Screw
Absolutely.
those Giants.
Also, that is awesome.
Yeah, Cunningham days when I was young. But Hurt, I don't got nothing against him. I just think he's not the right quarterback. I never liked him in college like that because he played the same way like he played now. And it's just he's not reading the field because Dawson, he was open like a couple of times, but he never threw it really to the third receiver. And when he did, interception. But I don't know. I just feel like McKee, don't put him in there. That's just suicide. But I don't know. I hope they work it out and don't do like they did 2 years ago and flame out.
It's just it's really amazing, Grant. Like what you just said, you don't think he's the right guy for this team. And yet they've been to 2 Super Bowls and they won one. And I get what you're saying because you're thinking maybe a more pocket passer, stand-up quarterback, guy that isn't running around as much might be better with this team, with these weapons, this offensive line. But you can't deny the fact that he has won. He won this Super Bowl this year.
But I credit Howie for that. Howie did that because he had to see Barama. To me, Josh Sweat should have had MVP of that Super Bowl.
That's yeah. No, I mean that's and I hear you, Grant. I appreciate the call. It's just like how crazy is that, right? Like I don't totally disagree with him. As I've said a couple weeks now, he's not the guy that will carry this team. He can carry you in a game or 2 games, NFC Championship game, Super Bowl. Great time to do it, right? He picked a hell of a time to carry the team in those 2 football games. But you also can't just like ignore the fact that they've won every year. They've never finished a season below 500. They've been to 2 Super Bowls. They've won one. So to say he's not the right guy for this team, how can you say that? You might say there's better options. Like maybe it's like pitching, right? There's the crafty lefty and there's the 100-mile-an-hour righty. Some guys like the crafty lefty. Some guys like the 100-mile-an-hour righty. They both win, but you have a preference. I have a preference to a quarterback that can stand tall in the pocket and strike. I do. I don't hide that. Like Matt Stafford, that arm that he has is an arm that I covet. Like I would like my quarterback to have that kind of arm. But I would also be a D head if I was to sit here and go, man, I'd rather have this, that, or the third when our quarterback literally just won in February.
Yeah, I mean, there are no plans to move on from Jalen Hurts. Now, would they potentially pull him out for a series? I really thought the other night if he threw another one in the second half, they were going to go. They would consider it.
If the first drive of the third quarter resulted in another turnover, I would have said that you should probably take him out.
Like, put him out.
Doesn't mean he's not starting the next week.
And let him regroup, let him calm down.
Andy did it with 5 before. We've seen it.
It's happened. But, man, that was it. Because it was a game. He lost his mind the other night.
All right, I want to play this for you real quick.
Okay.
Shefty was on with us earlier today. And this is a topic that we'll probably spend a little bit more time on tomorrow.
Okay.
What weighs more? The 2 Super Bowl appearances and 1 win, or what could be a second collapse? Here was Adam Schefter talking about what if there's another collapse. Will there be questions inside NovaCare?
I can't answer the specifics because we don't know how it's going to play out. But I feel comfortable in saying that if they were to fail to make the playoffs, if there were losses in there to the Commanders and Raiders that cost them the division title and a playoff spot, I don't know what the fallout would be other than I would be comfortable in saying there would be fallout. What that's going to be, there are weeks to discuss and dissect and figure out, but there would be fallout if they fell short of making the playoffs because of losses to the teams we're talking about.
And I don't think
that was very decisive.
I don't think Schefter's saying fallout like the assistant coach.
No, that was very decisive.
He's not talking about the quality control coach. He's talking about maybe not head coach, but obviously offensive coordinator.
Okay, let me ask you this, just to take this a little bit further. If that happened, now that scenario, so they've lost they have to for this to happen, they must lose one of the Commanders games and one of the, either the Bills or they must lose the Bills and then one of the Commanders games. They got to lose. They got to go 2-2.
They go 2-3 in the final 5 games. The first one was a loss against the Chargers.
2-2, yeah, exactly. So they're going 2-2 the rest of the way, and Dallas is winning out in order for this to happen. If that happened, and the Eagles missed the playoffs, don't win this division, nobody is hiring a coach before the season would be over. The Eagles would be the top job opening.
Yeah.
The Eagles would absolutely be the top job that anybody would want. So if that ever happened, that kind of collapse, they would have pick of the litter. No job would be more attractive because of this organization.
Yeah, but to me, you'd have to hire a guy that you would look at and say he can go to the Super Bowl 2 out of 4 years. And I don't think that guy's out there.
If Nick Sirianni got to a Super Bowl 2 out of 3 years, you really don't think there's somebody out there that you think you could go, I think they could?
I want to play the Colin Cowherd audio that we played earlier in the show if you missed it. When he talked about, we'll play both.
Right.
What he thinks of Hurts, what he thinks of Sirianni, and how almost everything needs to be perfect. We'll play that for you next because it might make you think a little bit. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Everybody knows in their community there are people that are looking for a hand. They're looking for a second chance. And many of them are battling addiction. And that's where the Salvation Army steps in. They can take something as simple as a used vehicle that you have on your home or your property at work, and they can turn that used vehicle, that car, that truck, that boat, that motorcycle, into something that, well, can help someone rebuild their life, can help somebody find stability, can help somebody rediscover hope. The Salvation Army's been doing that for nearly 150 years. Your kindness has made that happen. And donating is simple. You call 800-SA-TRUCK, Salvation Army, or you go to satruck.org. They will schedule a pickup with you. They're going to come right to your home. They're going to tow that vehicle away at no charge. You're going to get an IRS-approved receipt that you can then use with your tax professional. And that used vehicle in your driveway could end up being the turning point in someone else's life. So let's say you got that car, that truck, that motorcycle, RV or something that you want to part ways with. Why don't you donate it? Call 800-SA-TRUCK or visit satruck.org. Help the Salvation Army in this season of giving continue to do the most good.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phils finally locked down Schwarber. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies got their man yesterday, signing Kyle Schwarber to a 5-year, $150 million deal. And re-signing Schwarber was something that was well over a year in the making, but it took till free agency, and he got paid. He led the National League in home runs and RBIs this past season, so not surprising there, and was the runner-up for NL MVP honors. Jason Stark of The Athletic joined Unfiltered yesterday, and he talks about where the Phillies could go next now that Schwarber's locked down.
In order for them to do more, they need to free up some money. And that means there's incentive to make trades on multiple levels, not just to avoid running it back, but to create a little more payroll flexibility.
So we'll see if trades are on the table for the Phillies in the coming days. They also agreed to a contract extension with manager Rob Thompson yesterday, keeping him in Philly through the 2027 season. The Eagles are trying to figure out how in the world they're going to win a football game. They've lost 3 straight. They start their work towards their matchup with the Raiders this Sunday. Nick Sirianni meets with the media at 12:20 today. Flyers had another impressive win last night, taking down the Sharks 4-1. They are off until tomorrow. We're going to talk to Tim Kelly of On Pattison at 9:25 for his thoughts on the Schwarber deal. This update's brought to you by SuperSure. Do you own a small business? You need to hear this. A seismic shift is coming. It's time to get super sure. Not kind of sure, not pretty sure, but super sure, coming soon. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
.857 here on Kincade and Salciunas 97.5. The Fanatic. Going to play 2 clips for you here, but real quick on our YouTube chat, Tommy John wondering,
like his underwear,
wondering if there's any interest. He asked me specifically, but you guys can all chime in. It's our collective show for Tatsuya Imai, the right-handed pitcher out of Japan. We've talked about him a few times. I don't know anything about him. So I'm not going to lie to you and act like I know anything.
He weighs 110 pounds and throws 110 miles an hour, apparently.
Yeah, he's also 27 years old. So, like, how come there was no interest like 8 years ago.
He's a small guy, hard thrower that they worry about how long he's going to be able to exist throwing that hard with his frame.
All right. To me, one of the most, and John, you and I share this amusement. One of the most laughable things in the world is when people around here try to tell you about players that are drafted in Major League Baseball.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, man, he's a great prospect.
Majority of people that are drafted, especially early on, are high school players. So
And
you
they've
mean to
never
tell me
seen them.
you were driving to or streaming high school games in Florida, Texas?
BS. Or what
New
you've
Orleans,
done is you've read
Louisiana.
You've read someone else's opinion.
And you're giving your own.
And you've bogarted their opinion into being your opinion. But a lot of people do that.
Now, you can watch videos that are posted.
Oh,
but
I saw something on YouTube,
but
man.
Tell me the game that you watched of a high school player drafted. So, Tommy John, I would love, I believe what Connor has read and read up on him because he does the Locked On Phillies podcast. But, I'm not about to sit here and tell you I know who Tatsuya Imai is.
Yeah, that's the extent of my knowledge of him is what I've said in the past 30 seconds.
Yeah. Correct. And Connor doesn't bluff that on the Locked On Phillies podcast. You should subscribe.
By the way, show some respect. He's 5'11", 154.
There is a
get that dude a cheeseburger for the love of God.
By the way, there is there's just a couple of people asking questions about the salary cap thing. I do believe it's going to end up with baseball with the salary cap. That's going to happen after the lockout, and there will be a lockout. It won't be a strike because the players are not going to go on strike.
Right.
The owners are going to lock them out and try to get what the NHL has, the NBA has, and the NFL has, a salary cap. And when that happens, the NBA had a 1 year, the NHL had a 2 year, football had no years. They decided that it was
they figured it out.
immediately.
Yeah.
So the Phillies are going to have an albatross contracts. And nobody is going to want them. Nobody's going to want when they go to a salary cap, nobody's going to be going, the Phillies are going to have these giant old man contracts, and it's going to be like, okay, now we're going to a salary cap era. Oh, well, hey, someone want to take this one off our hands? Nobody's going to want to take it off their hands. Would you take Trey Turner's last 5 years, please? No. Would you take Bryce Harper's last 4 years, please? No. Not in a salary cap era. They're not going to want it. These are things you got to think about when you're saying, sign all the old guys.
All right.
Makes sense.
So real quick, the Colin Cowherd, we'll play the Sirianni one. He said pretty much the same thing about Jalen Hurts. But again, if there's a second collapse in 3 years, what weighs more to you? The two collapses or the two Super Bowl appearances, one of which the Eagles won. It's such rich people problems. It's first world problems. I get it. This was Colin Cowherd on his show yesterday. He talked about how Jalen Hurts needs everything to be perfect for him to be successful. He likes Jalen Hurts and loves his intangibles, but he also says, look, they need a great offensive line. They need to be clicking. They need a great run game, blah, blah, blah. He also said this about Sirianni.
This is a general manager, owner-first franchise. I've said this about Nick Sirianni. The top head coaches, Shanahan, we've seen Matt LaFleur do it this year, McVay, Vrabel, they can fix a broken side of the ball. LaFleur's offense was broken a month ago. Now it's great. We've seen Vrabel do this. The O-line's banged up. He can fix it in season. I don't think Sirianni can. I don't think that's who he is. I'm watching that game last night, and it hit me. It's hard to believe the positivity bunny didn't work. It didn't have a bigger impact. And I wonder about his future because Philly is like LSU football. They don't win. They don't care. No sacred cows with the Philadelphia Eagles.
So, Connor, when you said, how many coaches out there could get you to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, maybe not for the Panthers, maybe not for the Titans, but for what this Eagles team has and what Howie Roseman provides, they may think, look, Doug Peterson, nobody won him. Nobody wanted Nick Sirianni. We won a Super Bowl with both those guys.
Yeah. Here's a question. I don't need names, but just give me like a general feel of the numbers. How many coaches in the NFL do you realistically, could you see them winning a Super Bowl right now? Is that number 10? Is that number 15?
Are you saying with the Eagles personnel?
I'm just saying think about the coach because I think we overblow the personnel. There are some other really good teams. Kyle Shanahan doesn't have a ring.
Yeah, but
Kyle Shanahan would
win a Super Bowl.
Dan Campbell doesn't have a ring.
Kyle Shanahan would easily have had a ring with the Eagles personnel.
They've had some pretty damn good teams.
With the Eagles personnel, he easily would have had a ring.
Kyle Shannon. Look, if you're getting there, you have a chance of winning.
Sean McVay already has a ring. He easily would have had a ring. And any ring Nick Sirianni has, he would have had a ring.
I just, let's look at the coaches who have won Super Bowls or have been to multiple. There aren't that many. And I don't think the Eagles give that up for a one-year collapse.
Well, it'd be a 2-year collapse.
That you followed up with a Super Bowl
It'd be a
win.
2-year collapse.
It'd be 2 years collapsing.
They moved on from Doug
within
pretty
3
quick.
years. And the only way, did Nick Sirianni fix the collapse? No. No. Howie Roseman fixed the collapse because he went out and he hired Vic Fangio, and he went out and he hired Kellen Moore.
But Nick Sirianni was still, and here's the thing, I don't love the guy as the head coach of the team. Like, I want him to stay here, but I was ready to fire him after 2023. So don't take this as I'm
no, I got you.
I'll also say this. You'll never know, as you're listening to 97.5, the Fanatic WP and WPN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Studio, Power and Possibilities. You'll never know who's also available. Nobody thought Vrabel would be available, right?
Correct. You don't know, like
nobody thought that.
I got to tell you is because context matters. Like I have a gentleman here. I went back and forth with a couple times on Twitter saying it wasn't the worst Eagles quarterback performance ever. Ron Jaworski lost a game to the Cowboys in 1981. I'm like, well, context matters. The Cowboys were great. The Chargers aren't. Ron Jaworski didn't have the offensive personnel that the Eagles have in 1981. That context matters. Like when you're going to compare performances. He didn't have Jalen Hurts' talent. So it's a little bit different. I think the same thing matters here. There are a lot of coaches in the NFL. I would tell you at least 10 that could have won the Super Bowl that Nick Sirianni won.
All right. What do we got on the text line? I do want to play the Cowherd audio on Hurts as well. It is a temperature check Wednesday on Jalen Hurts. And we've actually gotten quite a bit of feedback on people that are like, Grant was, I thought, the best caller.
Okay.
I'm not trying to do the best call of the day. Grant said, look, I think there's better options than Jalen Hurts, but I'm not benching him for Tanner McKee. Right? Like, and I think that's a great way to look at it. Like, there are better quarterbacks than Jalen Hurts. There are quarterbacks that would also succeed in this system, these players around him. But to just say, give Tanner McKee a shot, see what happens. You do that, you're ending the relationship with Jalen Hurts. You're ending the marriage.
And his personality is not going to take that well. It's not going to take that well because he's the franchise guy here.
Yeah. What do we got on the text?
VT Ron checks in and he says, hey, fellas, the temperature on Hurts is not good right now. I think he cannot pick up secondary receivers. Never could. And he can't make the same passes that some other quarterbacks in football can. Plus, you have offensive people putting him in a position not to succeed and rather than getting him in the pocket to succeed.
Yeah, I mean, but then again, I hear Dan Orlovsky, who does the film breakdown and goes, man, there was a lot there. Hurts had a bad game on Monday. We got to stop sugarcoating it. Like he had a bad game. Patullo and Sirianni were not top of mind for me. It was Jalen Hurts. Don't even think twice about it.
Now, here's what I will say, because in the moment, it always seems worse. Quarterbacks that have thrown 4 interceptions in a game, and I know you have the fumble and the interception on the same play, which was ridiculous, and visually it might have been worse than some of these other games. But guys like Lamar's got 4 in a game.
Yeah, Sam Darnold, your boy, had 4 earlier this year.
Peyton Manning. I mean, there's a bunch of great quarterbacks all time, and those guys may throw the ball more than Hurts, so that could inflate
and that's why,
that.
Look, I don't think Jalen Hurts stinks.
Exactly.
And that's where I think I did. Like, when I say Jalen Hurts can't carry a team for multiple weeks, there are people that get upset by it and
that
think
wasn't
that I'm
fair
saying he
because they didn't listen to your context.
And that's fine. It's all good, Johnny.
No, I understand.
Life is life.
Yeah, but you got to listen to the context.
Like, I think Jalen Hurts can win you a game or two putting the team on his back, but I don't think 2024, we all have to be honest with ourselves, they did not get the 2 seed in the playoffs because of Jalen Hurts. They got the 2 seed because Saquon Barkley, the offensive line, and you had the best defense in football. Like, that's what got you there.
Is there anything you can point to where Nick Sirianni won that Super Bowl? And I'm not saying that he had no part in it because he's a fine. I can tell you.
I mean, he had the feel for the dagger.
He's a leader of men.
They were already up 27.
He's a leader of men, but he had a competent offensive coordinator who had already had 3 top 5 offenses before he ever rolled into town. He had a competent defensive coordinator who'd even already been a head coach in the league. Howie went out and got him Saquon Barkley.
I have something. And I think it fits for the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl as well. And it may be the only thing you can point to for Nick Sirianni, but I think it really gets overlooked. And I think we put more of it on the skill of the players than we should probably give also to the head coach.
What's that?
They were so ready to play.
Yeah.
In the
no
two
question.
biggest games of the year.
No, you're right. And he has a history of his teams being ready to play.
Like when you put 55 and 40, that's not just great offense. That's great preparation.
No, and every player talks about how he's a great leader and keeps the guys together.
But but where his offensive and defensive coordinators were, was it their plans that they had them were ready to execute?
They were very good. Last year, the Detroit Lions, and I know they were banged up, but they had they had a great offensive and defensive coordinator. They have games they're not ready for.
But they lost 6. They had 6 starters out on defense.
There's no perfect comparison.
The NFC Championship game was destined to be Eagles-Lions, and it wasn't.
It was destined. I mean, when you're missing 6 starters on defense, you're not going.
All right.
You're not going.
Coming up next, we had our man Adam Schefter on earlier today. He was pretty adamant about if this were to go completely south, that there could be changes. You'll hear the best 5 minutes of Adam Schefter. Also, just how bad was it for Jalen Hurts on Monday? When the game is so bad, it gives reporters and people that cover the team a chance to try to compare it to other bad games. I'll tell you some of the company that Jalen Hurts was with next. Also, know the show the remainder of the way for your chance to win the pair of passes for the True Fan Travel Tailgate, which is this Sunday before the Birds take on the Raiders. That starts next segment. Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, the Fanatic. All right, the holiday season is here. The showcases at Family and Company Jewelers are stocked and ready to go. But don't procrastinate. We are 15 days away from the big one, people, all right? And I know how a lot of people like to propose during the holiday season because everybody's house is looking nice. Everybody's dressed up. The colors, my wife likes the fall and winter colors, right? So I know that's a big part of it as well. So now's a big time for a lot of people to get engaged. So check out Family Company Jewelers because that's where I went for my engagement ring. It's also where I got my wife's wedding band. It was a nice little pairing for the two. It was beautiful. She still shows it off to this day. Now, some of you might already be married, or some of you might not be at that spot yet in your relationship to pop the question. You could still get other great gifts. They have the largest selection of diamonds in the area. I've gone back to Family Company Jewelers for the first anniversary gift, first Mother's Day gift. I've sent other friends and family there for gifts. Family Company Jewelers, great spot. Largest selection of diamonds in the area. They will make sure that you walk out of that store with something that will be shown off for the rest of the year and all of 2026. It's simple. It's stress-free. My friends at Family Company Jewelers, they're honest, pressure-free, no sales commissions, no upselling, no games, just real transparent pricing. So don't wait until the last minute. Get your holiday shopping done now. By the way, if you're waiting till now, it kind of is the last minute. Check them out online, FamilyJewelers.com, or on Route 70 in Marlton, New Jersey. Family Company Jewelers, South Jersey's holiday diamond destination.
The final hour of Kincade and Salciunas is presented to you by The Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag. You can get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. You need details? Go to Bagster.com.
It is 9:13 here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. So from now until the end of the show, just listen closely. Know the show. If you want to hang out with me and the team of Philly Sports Trips and True Fan Travel before the Birds take on the Raiders this Sunday, 1 o'clock, where the Eagles better score 30 points.
Well, wait, I only have 4 games. Do I wear the propeller hat?
How about 29 points? I'd like to see John in that hat.
No.
I do want to see John in the hat, but it means that the Eagles' offense completely died, which kind of already is. But if they can't score 30 points against the Raiders,
I mean, seriously.
if they can't score 30 points, this offense is a joke.
This offense
already is.
We've already laughed at the punchline for the past month.
I know.
Dead in the water.
I know. That's
great.
They brought in a rabbit.
They did bring in they brought in the positivity
I'm
rabbit.
sorry,
Yeah,
but-
the positivity rabbit. Has there been an update on? I guess they didn't go. There was no locker room.
No,
yet.
today we'll find out.
Is it up still?
Hell no.
I don't think so either.
Hell no.
Connor, you think it would be hilarious if it is. Do you actually believe that the positivity rabbit is still up?
When would you need more positivity than right now?
No, I think
yes.
I think it'd be funnier if there was something else up.
Just switching through animals.
A negativity rabbit?
No, something else. Just something else, and just being like, we're just gonna give them something else to mock us with, like, and just saying we don't give a damn. I think it'd be funnier if there was something else. Like, that would be leaning into it. I think you lean into it and you take the ammunition away from the people mocking you. So do something like that. Have some fun with it.
All right, before we play our 5 best minutes of Shefty, just some the party that Hurts was in this past game. He's the first Eagles quarterback to throw for 4 interceptions in a game since Michael Vick in the 2012 season opener, where they beat the Cleveland Browns 17-16.
Do you remember that game?
Do you know who was the quarterback for the Browns who also threw 4 interceptions?
I do not.
Brandon Whedon.
Brandon Whedon, who was 26 when he was drafted?
8 interceptions in that game.
I think he was 25 or 26 when he was drafted.
Yes. He's the first Eagles quarterback with 4 interceptions and no touchdown passes in a game since Brad Gable. When they lost 13-6 to the Saints at the Vet in 1991 in his second and final career start. And one more, again, this is Ruben Frank. Great job as always. First Eagles quarterback with 5 turnovers in a game in 28 years when Bobby Hoying had 3 picks and 2 fumbles lost in a 31-21 loss to the Giants.
It was the fact that he set the record with the first two turnovers in the same play.
That's actually hysterical. I can't help but to laugh.
Well, the funny thing is that and I appreciate some of the people that get involved in our social media going, well, John, 2 weeks ago you were getting ripped on social media for being a Hurts apologist. You keep your integrity and rip him for the last 2 games, and now you're being told you're being a racist for ripping Jalen Hurts' performances by one guy saying, yeah, now you're ripping the black quarterback. And I'm like, you can't win. Because I just a couple weeks ago was, oh, man, you are such a Hurts apologist. You just totally fronting for Hurts. I'm like, you can't win. It's just, look, it's okay to say that Jalen Hurts has been the worst singular player on the field for the Eagles in the Bears game and the Chargers game. And I totally believe he's going to bounce back. I'm completely a believer. I may be a dope. I've been a dope before.
Oh, yeah. Here is our best 5 minutes of Adam Schefter from earlier today. From ESPN, our man Adam Schefter joins us. Shefty, it is now 3 straight losses for the Philadelphia Eagles. Good morning.
Happy Wawa Day to you guys.
That's really the only happy thing that's going on in Philly. What did you make of the 3rd straight loss for the Eagles and the 4 interceptions thrown by Jalen Hurts?
It was a messy game. It was a turnover fest. I actually thought the offense showed certain signs of life. It seemed like they got Saquon going. It would have been nice to kind of stick with that a little bit more. But the turnovers, nobody can overcome that. Nobody's going to overcome that. When you turn over the football that many times in the course of one game, that's the recipe for a loss.
Okay, can we then look at it, though, and say, how do you run Saquon 5 times in the second half?
Well, I'll just say this, that when you put on the game at the start of the night, Saquon seemed to be having his way. He was breaking free. He was turning the corner. He was ringing up the type of runs that we haven't seen with any degree. We haven't seen really at all this year. And as you mentioned, they got away with it. 5 runs in the second half. 5. I don't know why that is, but that's why it was. And that's a good part of why they lost the game. It was right there for them.
Shefty, you mentioned that you liked some of the things that you saw from the offense, including Saquon getting going in the first half. So this was the week where ESPN's own Tim McManus reported that Nick Sirianni was going to get more involved with the game planning. What have you heard on that front? Do you expect more of the same? Do you expect Sirianni to be even more heavy-handed? And what led to this, in your opinion?
Well, I would think that it'll continue going on. He's the head coach. The team's lost 3 in a row. Again, I thought the offense showed signs of life. What led to it is the fact that the offense had been flat, had been unpredictable, had been not very innovative. And so I think Nick Sirianni got involved because it's his team ultimately, and he has to answer for everything. And if the offense is not getting the job done, then it's his job to step in to make sure that it does. And that's, to a certain extent, what that was about. He was apparently, according to Tim, more involved in the meetings, more vocal, spoke longer at the meetings. I don't know the exact role he had in the offense other than suppose he had a bigger role. And yes, I would expect it to continue. And yes, I would hope that they would get back to running the football.
So what have you heard with how Patullo has been running these offensive meetings? Because that's what we heard, that it has been the Patullo show. I don't think Nick Sirianni was in his office playing tiddlywinks during the offensive meetings. I would imagine he was involved. But was this the Patullo offense up until last week before Sirianni got more involved?
I really don't know how it breaks down, other than Kevin was the offensive coordinator. It's his show, and the show wasn't getting it done. I mean, that's all we could really say. I don't have the specifics of how it broke down. I just don't know that. But it was enough that Nick felt he had to get involved and did. And like we said, the offense showed certain signs of improvement, but not nearly enough on Monday night. And there's clearly more work to do, and we'll leave that to them to figure out how they want to address that and do that.
How much of in danger do you believe people that you are speaking to around the NFL believe the Eagles are to giving up this division lead to the Dallas Cowboys?
I mean, if you can't beat the Commanders and the Raiders,
Exactly.
3 times, you don't deserve to win the division.
Exactly.
Okay? And I'll say this, like, not to put the pressure on them, but if you can't beat the Commanders twice and the Raiders and you don't win the division, to go back to the question, there are going to be questions that come up that have to be answered. There just are. And so that's not an ultimatum, but I'm just telling you, like, all season long, the city's been in an uproar about the way this team has performed. So that, for all the chatter that there's been, they were unable to beat the Commanders and or the Raiders. Oh my God. I can't only imagine what the conversations would be like.
After the 2023 season, I was ready to move on from Nick Sirianni, and John Kincade to my left was not. Now it's almost like roles reversed. If there's another collapse, John would consider it.
If they miss the playoffs, yes.
Or even if they back their way in continuously like they are now and get eliminated in the first round, much like the 2023 season, is that even a thought that would cross Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman's mind about guys like Nick Sirianni or, hell, maybe even Jalen Hurts at this point? Because we know that the Eagles aren't just happy making the playoffs.
I can't answer the specifics because we don't know how it's going to play out. But I feel comfortable in saying that if they were to fail to make the playoffs, if there were losses in there to the Commanders and Raiders that cost them the division title and a playoff spot, I don't know what the fallout would be other than I would be comfortable in saying there would be fallout. What that's going to be, there are weeks to discuss and dissect and figure out, but there would be fallout if they fell short of making the playoffs because of losses to the teams we're talking about.
Shefty, we
job,
appreciate the time as always, man. We'll talk to you again next week. And to your point, the Eagles offense better show up on Sunday or, man, next week will be fun.
Positivity bunny.
Positivity bunny.
We can make this very simple. Saquon and Tank Bigsby, there should be 30 carries on Sunday.
There we go.
They should run for 211 yards.
Yeah, Saquon will get 29 of them, and Tank will get 1.
However, Tank should get 7, 8 carries.
No, we agree. We agree with you.
We've been begging for that.
The Eagles coaching staff does not, apparently.
Adam, I know it would be a pay cut, but they're going to be looking for an offensive coordinator this offseason, so just think about it.
Shefty, we appreciate the time, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, buddy.
Have a great week, guys.
All right, there's our 5 best minutes of Adam Schefter. You can hear the whole thing on 97.5thefanatic.com as well as our YouTube page. Coming up next, Tim Kelly from On Patterson does a tremendous job covering the Phillies. Kyle Schwarber's back for 5 years. All signs point to Real Muto will return as well. And then what? It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now, on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phillies get their man. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phils went out and signed Kyle Schwarber to a 5-year, $150 million deal yesterday, bringing him back for the next half-decade. Led the National League in home runs and RBIs this past season, runner-up for NL MVP, and now a Philly for, the better part of his career. Jason Stark of The Athletic joined Unfiltered yesterday and talked about the impact of signing Kyle Schwarber.
This had to happen. He was the centerpiece of their entire offseason. They had to send him out there into the free agent market, try to figure out what's he actually worth, because there's nobody comparable to him. There's nobody like him, really, in the history of the sport.
We're going to talk to Tim Kelly, Vaughn Pattison about that coming up next, and also the news the Phillies extended Rob Thompson through the 2027 season, so he'll be managing the team for the next 2 years. Eagles are trying to find some way to pull out their 3-game losing streak. Nick Sirianni will meet with the media today at 12:20. Flyers had a nice, impressive 4-1 win last night over the Sharks. They're off until tomorrow. This update is brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that's built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and the best birds coverage. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
I'm doing great. Busy day yesterday, but yeah, doing great. How are you guys?
Well, we're doing great. Let's start with the busy day yesterday. Kyle Schwarber, 5-year extension. Rob Thompson, 2-year extension. Curious to just get your opinion on both of those moves for the Phillies.
Well, the Thompson was a 1-year extension. He's under contract now for 2 more years. I think that wasn't surprising. Dave Dombrowski's talked about he doesn't like to have managers operate as lame ducks. It doesn't change if the Phillies decide at some point after next year that they want to make a change, it doesn't really prevent them from doing that. What it does prevent, I think, is if the Phillies get off to a slow start in April, whispers and murmurs about, do you make a change? So I think that's where things stand on Thompson. He gets the 1-year extension. With Kyle Schwarber, I think it's the right deal. It is unusual to see a 33-year-old DH get a 5-year deal, and maybe it's not great to have that spot pretty much locked down as you have some other guys age. But Kyle Schwarber has just been so good the last 2 years that it was hard to imagine him not on the Phillies moving forward, and I think ultimately they made the right move bringing him back.
Okay, when you say the right move, the right move is based on that you feel they're on the right track? That this organization's on the right track?
Well, just that I think they would have been a worse team without Kyle Schwarber. And not to say you couldn't have pivoted to sign someone else potentially, but I think between Kyle Schwarber hitting 56 home runs last year, and I don't love to talk about leadership stuff, but it is clear in how effusive not only the Phillies but the rest of the teams around the league that is a real factor with Kyle Schwarber. I think they would have been a worse team and a worse organization without him. So by bringing him back, I think that was the right move for those reasons.
Tim Kelly joining us here. So, Tim, the next move is JT Realmuto eventually gets re-signed. I mean, it's like the worst-kept secret in the world, as well as Kyle Schwarber's. So what do you do after that? Because it doesn't seem like the Phillies are going to have all this money to sign one of these big free agents. Dave Dombrowski's going to have to get creative and make some trades. Who do you believe are the movable assets for the Phillies that you expect them to actually shop and get players of relevancy in return?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I don't know exactly what the answer is. I do think JT Realmuto will end up being back, and that's probably the best move they can make, but I think it's fair to have reservations about re-signing a 35-year-old catcher that had the 700 OPS last season, so we'll see how that goes. Obviously, 2 years would be better than 3 if that's what it ends up as. As far as the assets on the team, I think there would be interest in Alec Boehm. It's just like you're going to have to backfill that position. And as flawed as Alec Boehm is, there's not that many right-handed hitters around the league right now. The Phillies don't have a ton of right-handed hitters, and you're talking about taking Castellanos out of the lineup. JT hasn't been re-signed yet. So if you move Alec Boehm, you have to have added a right-handed hitter at another spot in the lineup. So I think guys like Boehm, Stott, Marsh, like there would be interest in them. Matt Strahm is also somebody that's been talked about. There would be interest in those guys. You do have to consider backfilling, but I agree with you. I know Dave Dombrowski said the other day he doesn't like the term running it back, but they do need to shake things up a little bit. And he has to get creative because it is hard right now to find right-handed hitters, especially outfielders. That is a reality in baseball right now. But the Phillies do not want to come back with the same team next year. So it's a tricky balance. You had a really good team. You won 96 games, but it clearly wasn't enough when the playoffs rolled around.
But, Tim, where does the faith come that the young guys within the organization are ready to step up? Other than, if we're talking about Painter and Miller specifically, what would they be basing any kind of confidence that they're ready to step up at the major league level to help the 2026 team?
Well, with Painter, you are banking on the second year back from Tommy John surgery that he's just better, that the stuff is still really good, and he had control problems, and that's not uncommon for a guy first year back from Tommy John, and I don't think they managed expectations particularly well last year. So we'll see. I mean, with Aiden Miller, I think that's more of like a second-half possibility. Justin Crawford's the one you can base it off of how well he hit at AAA. That is the case. He has hit and stolen bases at every level. I still have some skepticism in terms of how frequently he puts the ball on the ground. I want to see how that approach works at the majors, but I would have been skeptical of a guy hitting the ball on the ground 60% of the time that would have been successful at AAA, and he hit 330. So he's earned that opportunity to step up, and you do have to have some degree of faith, and I think it's easier to have faith in April and May than in August and September, and give these guys some leash to go through some growing pains, and hopefully by the time the postseason rolls around, they're ready to be contributors. I don't think you're asking any of them to be the faces of your team next year. Painter could very well develop into that. You're not asking him to come in and be your ace next season. You're asking him to come in and be your number 4 or 5 stars. So I think that's where it comes in. You're talking about mixing these guys in. It's a lot easier to mix them in with Schwarber back, if Bryce Harper has a good season, with Trey Turner, than it would be if you're on a young team trying to compete.
Tim Kelly with us on the Comcast Biz Hotline, covers the Phillies for On Patterson, live from the winter meetings in Orlando, Florida. Tim, you wrote an article on him. I'm going to try to be as respectful as possible, all right? And I'm not talking about your work. I'm talking about how the Phillies view him. A guy that couldn't find a way on the team until finally just there were so many injuries. Now, all of a sudden, Otto Kemp is a World Series champion in the eyes of Dave Dombrowski. Are you telling me that there's a chance that he is a big part of their plans when they basically refused to bring him up and just kind of had to? He didn't really do all that much, and now the Phillies are loving Otto Kemp.
Well, September, he did hit the cover off the ball. He was excellent in September. I share some of your skepticism. I think part of what they're making the effusive praise for him is that he played through some really pretty serious injuries, a knee injury that was pretty bad after fouling a ball. He played through that through June, even after getting options. So I think there is a level of respect, and that's part of what you're seeing. But I do think they like his offensive profile and think he could be a contributor. Now, what that exactly means, I think, remains to be seen. He really struggled at third base last year. I know that is his natural position. I thought he looked better in left field. So if their thought is that he can be a platoon partner for Brandon Marsh in left field, I get it. That makes perfect sense. I don't think that he's a guy that's going to have 500 at-bats next season, but he can be a contributor, and they like his makeup. I get that.
I got to tell you, Tim, it's I'm left. I just wonder what anything that they've got to trade at the major league level, what they can get for it. I'm not left very enthused. I'm going to try to be optimistic because I think the starting rotation looks paper thin, and I worry about that. I worry about this starting rotation, and past this year, I worry about what they're going to do with it.
Well, I mean, you have one of the top 5 pitchers in baseball in Christopher Sanchez. You are banking on Zach Wheeler coming back healthy and Aaron Nola to some degree rebounding. But
I can't bank on that. I'm not banking on Nola.
Yeah, maybe not. But, I mean, Jesus Luzardo was one of the better pitchers in baseball last season. Like, I think you have – if you're talking about Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler being like your number 3 and 4 starters, how many got – and you have Painter waiting in the wings. How many teams in baseball have a better – setup than that? I get that there's some uncertainty relative to what there's been in past years, but I still think 25 teams would like to have the Phillies starting pitcher.
Tim, listen, man, we appreciate the time as always. Enjoy the warmer weather.
Thanks.
In Orlando, Florida. Get back safe. You keep up the great work. We'll be reading all your stuff while you're down there.
Thank you, Tim.
Unfortunately, it's not very warm down here, but I know it's warmer than in Philly.
Yeah, it's warmer than it is in Philly.
You stop it right now.
Thanks, Tim. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, thanks, guys.
There he is, Tim Kelly on the Comcast business. Spare me the Otto Kemp.
I got to tell you,
I can't.
I love Tim Kelly's stuff. I absolutely love it, and he is well entrenched and everything. I can't share his optimism at all.
It really sounds like they might run it back.
And Nola. Optimism on Nola?
If they run it back.
Oh, my gosh.
If they run it back.
No, they are running it back. The minute that they re-sign Schwarber and Real Muto, they're rolling it back.
This could be the 4th straight year of it.
And they're going, this year's going to be different. And the guy who made all the poor strategy decisions, he's back. They're running it back.
And Otto Kemp's going to become.
Oh, but don't tell us we're running it back.
Brooks Robinson.
Oh, my gosh.
Otto Kemp's turning into Brooks Robinson.
I swear to you. I swear.
All right, coming up next, we didn't spend much time on the wild story that came out over the weekend because yesterday we had to talk about the wild performance by Jalen Hurts. Are you going to root for the success of another team? I'll tell you more next. Also, the contest that we will be running next week, filled with lots of great prizes. We'll start letting you know next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. All right, let's talk about the state of your house. Is it in shambles? Is the core of your house in shambles? Like the Birds offense. If you're planning on inviting friends and family over this winter, maybe for the holiday parties, maybe you're still trying to get together to watch the Birds, maybe you have a New Year's Eve party, New Year's Day party. We all know the hustle that it takes to get the house looking perfect. But there are some things that you can't fix on your own. All right, you'll be able to clean the countertops, but maybe you won't be able to fix the sticking windows and doors, the drywall cracks, the uneven floors, maybe the mold and mildew smells that you may spray a little Febreze and then say, that's going to be good enough, right? But as that party continues and that odor starts to get back, those things will stand out, and your friends, when they leave the house, will talk about you behind your back. Groundworks knows that all these signs point to major damage that's building up in your foundation, your crawl space, or basement, and they only get worse over time. These things don't just heal. They're not like a common cold during the winter season, little virus that goes away. But don't worry. With a free foundation inspection from Groundworks, the team's experts will identify your home's issues at the source. They'll tell you what happened, what could go wrong if you don't fix it now, and how much it's going to cost. You want to get to these problems sooner rather than later. The longer you wait, the more extensive and expensive the fix could be. So go to groundworks.com, book your free inspection, get that no obligation quote. Groundworks, there's a reason why they're the trusted local experts.
Unfiltered with
right, we'll get some text messages here momentarily. We'll also tell you about our cool contest that we got coming up next week. But I want to ask you guys something from a human element. Forget the jerseys and who we like and who we don't like. Even though I don't think anybody hates the Indianapolis Colts, right? Like
they are Colts.
Like, does anybody hate the Colts? I don't think so.
I love that. I love the logo and I love the color.
Yeah. Would you root for the Colts to have somewhat of success if Phillip Rivers does indeed start for them?
No.
I would.
Why?
I want to see it happen. The story would be fantastic. They have nothing to do with you, right? So they're not going to. Let me just take a guess here. I don't think the Indianapolis Colts are getting to the Super Bowl.
No,
right?
I would agree with you.
So I wouldn't mind seeing them make it. First off, they got to make the playoffs because they've been teetering for a while now.
I have a feeling that sort of horse has already ran out of the barn.
Are they first team out right now?
Because they got Jags and Houston in their division. I think they're done.
Yeah, so they're first team out.
Yeah, I think they're done.
Record-wise, tied with the Texans, but the Texans have the head-to-head, but they still play each other one more time.
Yeah, I think they're done.
I would love to see them get into the playoffs, and if they win, they win. If they lose, they lose. They're not going to the Super Bowl, but I would root for the success because I love a story. It's like this one's cooler than Rich Hill pitching in the minor leagues at 46 years old. That's sad.
I'd rather see
to me, that was like, dude, you're on the bus, grinding it out in the minor leagues for what?
See, I like my ideas. Give me the 12 best teams, or 14, I should say. Give me the 14 best teams in the playoffs. They're not one of them. And Phillip Rivers being a quarterback doesn't make them one of them.
But maybe
so
with Phillip Rivers, they could be.
No, they're not one of them. Give me the 14 best teams in the playoffs.
So you wouldn't root for the success?
No.
I love a good story.
No. I'm not. They're not one of the best. No, I want the best teams in the playoffs because there's nothing better to me than those, like wild card weekends. Fun.
Yeah.
Divisional playoff weekend is fun.
Yeah, you don't want to beat down.
No, I don't
want to.
Yeah, I don't want to watch. No, and I've watched Phillip Rivers in the playoffs. I've watched him in the playoffs when he's been with teams that were actually had legitimate chances. He hasn't won anything.
That's my thing. I've never really been a Phillip Rivers guy.
Yeah, I'm not sitting here telling you I'm going to buy a Rivers Colts.
No, but I mean, it doesn't do it for me.
I like Joe Flacco. I want to see him have success until he's like 70. That's fun for me. Phillip Rivers, I just never.
But this
really,
is different. Like Flacco's never gone away. Like this guy's.
He went to Cleveland.
He is not.
That's about
he
as
has
away
not
as he
played in a game since January of 2021.
I think. Yeah, I do think it's cute. I just don't think it has any chance to happen right now.
Well, chance of what? Him playing? Because there is a chance that he plays.
There's a chance that he plays, but I don't think he has any chance to do anything because, again, he's got Houston in the division and he's got Jags in the division. I think that's gone already.
First time Will Anderson comes off the edge and Phil's oh, bro, I haven't escaped.
I'll watch, but I won't root.
Dude, if he's not going to play this Sunday, but if he plays this Sunday, they're playing the Seahawks.
The one thing is he looks like he's in fantastic shape, ready to go.
Sure.
As far as just his physical makeup.
Oh, God. Dude. Here's their last 4 weeks.
Okay, give it to me.
Seahawks, Niners, Jags, Texans.
Oh, my gosh.
All with great pass rush.
He's done. He'd be done.
Do you think he pulls a Zadarius Smith? Or it's like,
no, you know what I think he does?
You know what? I don't think this is from me.
No, I think he pulls a hamstring. Is what I think. That's where I think happens. He goes out there and he pulls a hamstring. He does something immediately just because I don't know how you can come out cold after 5 years. The quick twitch stuff, I think would just be not ready for it.
Okay.
But, he is a spectacular human being, so good luck to it. He had the best deal, too, when they moved to L.A. Did you remember what his deal was?
I do not.
He had a deal where, his family lived in San Diego. No, even better, though. He had a luxury limo.
Okay.
Like a limo SUV thing that was built more like a limo that literally would pick him up every day at his house so he could live in San Diego, drive him to L.A. so he could study tape, eat, and everything, pick him up, bring him home every day, drive him back and forth. He never lived in L.A. So he would go to practice, drive home, and study his tape, do his stuff. He had time to do that. And this thing he could sleep in it.
Yeah.
He had like a reclining chair that was almost like a recliner.
Okay.
So after practice, he had a refrigerator. It was awesome because that traffic.
So he could have lived there. If
he could have lived in it. Yeah,
Minshew lived in a van. I'm not impressed.
That's true. That's
exactly.
true. All right,
Where's
the show.
Minshew now, by the way?
He was a backup somewhere.
Is he around anymore? I don't know. Someone will know the answer. Someone will jump in.
I'll check it right now for you before I give the the show. Kansas City. He's
That's right.
Patty Mahomes. Is there a quarterback controversy in Kansas City?
He'll be sitting home.
Should they look? If we're talking about benching Hurts for Tanner McKee, Patrick Mahomes, should they bench him for Gardner Minshew? All right. The show question. First person to text this one in at 610-632-0975. The winner will get a pair of passes for the Philly Sports Trips True Fan Travel home tailgate for this Sunday's game. I'll be there hanging out with you before the Eagles take on the Raiders. All-inclusive food, drinks, live entertainment, appearances from special guests and former players, Sea of Birds games. If you do not win a ticket, you can obviously buy tickets on phillysportstrips.com, and a portion of the proceeds go to the Eagles Autism Foundation. You said to Adam Schefter.
Yes.
We did the 5 best minutes of Adam Schefter. That maybe at the end of this year, this NFL season, Adam Schefter could take a pay cut for what job? First person to get it right, 610-632-0975. At the end of this football season, Adam Schefter could take a pay cut to take what job? 610-632-0975.
That's a pay cut from $8 million.
Yeah, he does pretty well.
I think Adam's doing well for himself.
He does pretty well.
Yeah, good job.
A lot less pressure doing that job, too.
Oh, no, don't believe it.
Livelihood, tough. Because, you're on your phone.
He never gets off.
Yeah.
That phone, I mean, it's constant.
But the pressure of
phones.
being an insider versus an offensive coordinator.
Was he Kevin Gates?
Who?
No, 2 phones. Never mind. All right, we'll move on.
No, but, hey, please explain yourself.
It's a song. I got 2.
Okay. I know the song.
All right. Yeah, it's okay.
Speaking of songs, maybe you did that on purpose.
I did not.
Speaking of songs, so next week, starting Monday, we're going to have something fun going on this show, and I want to thank everybody at the Fanatic that is a part of it, because this is not something that just the 3 of us can do. Starting Monday, we're going to do it twice a day, 7:30 and 8:30 on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday as we get closer and closer to Christmas Day and all the holidays that people celebrate
Your
all
birthday,
across.
my birthday, Christmas.
That's what people celebrate more than anything else. More than Hanukkah, more than Christmas. It's our birthdays, John.
Too much.
We're going to do Name That Caroler. So what you're going to hear twice a day next week, different members of the station singing Christmas carols. And what you're going to have to do is name that caroler, not name the song. You hear our voices every single day, but you don't hear us sing.
And it's
sometimes for the betterment of your ears.
It's definitely different hearing someone sing, too.
Yeah, for sure. So starting next week, we're going to do Name That Caroler. So what we'll do is we'll have a 30-second clip of different members of the station singing a Christmas carol, and then you're going to have to name who it is. And we're giving away some pretty awesome prizes.
Oh, yes.
I can tell you that I know we will have sweet tickets for a Flyers game in January.
And we're going to join you, hopefully.
Hopefully join you as long as our schedules all work. So we will have sweet tickets to a Flyers game. We're going to have some pretty big gift cards, big money gift cards to some great places all across the area. And so I can't wait for it because
it's going to be fun.
I don't know who can sing. I don't know who can't sing. I've heard a couple people of our station already sing. I can't wait for Dylan to sing.
Well, who knows if Dylan's in it? We don't know.
Oh, Dylan's in it. I just need to let the people know now. Dylan's in it. And that alone is worth listening to. That starts next week, Johnny.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good.
Tell us about the
And you
life-saving
never know.
cancer
You never know
research.
people if they can sing or not.
You're right.
Hey, Window Nation made a donation in the American Association for Cancer Research, and you can too. Go to 975thefanatic.com/AACR because I'm living proof. Cancer research saves lives.
Congratulations to Jason, the winner of the Philly Sports Trips True Fan Travel Tailgate Passes.
We'll see Jason on
I'll see you on Sunday.
Morning.
Can't wait for it. Everybody.
By the way, snow definitely Saturday night into Sunday could very well be in the mix.
All right, bring it on.
Could be happening.
Dress warm.
Fun. No, yeah, but not a cold.
Okay.
So that's good.
All right, well, that's good. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Middays with Marks comes your way next here on The Fanatic.
Now on